Yes, guys, welcome back to the Irish Hotspur with your boys, Dave and Jack, once again leading the line as we lead Tottenham into battle tonight at the City Ground, taking on fOREST. I do apologise about being a bit late. I was had a late appointment for my fitting for my lumberjack outfit to get ready to go and commit some deforestation tonight. I absolutely cannot wait. But as you can see, we're also joined by Ribsy. Dermotron is running late. We'll allow it this week. But he will be on in just a little while. But we'll check in with Jack first. How are you, my man?
I'm doing well, Dave. I mean, to be fair, there's so many elements of a lumberjack outfit. You have to get the right flannel. You have to have the sort of right underneath garment or whatever, white t-shirt. Maybe go for something else, underneath that. Santa hat goes, pretty well with the lumberjack outfit as well. Have to have the right type of blue jeans or, Carhartts, suspenders too. So boots, Dave. So it's kind of like it's a whole outfit. So to be fair to you, I mean, you came back pretty speedily from it.
No, I did, lad. I had to get back quick, got on the electric scooter, flew back here, But we'll head down to Ribsy. Ribsy, how are you keeping, sir?
Very good, very good. Ready to do, well, as you say, some deforestation. I'll get the Agent Orange out, man. We'll do this on a war crimes level.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. But I cannot wait. Big game tonight. We can't afford to lose. We don't want to be cut adrift of that top four. It does look like only top four will make Champions League football this year. So it's very important we get the win with some of them big teams playing each other over the next few weeks over the festive period. So if we just keep putting points on the board, who knows where it could take us by the end of December. I absolutely cannot wait for tonight, but let's see who's joining in with us nice and early today. Let's see who's also as pumped. We have Mick Hermlock says, good afternoon, Jack and Dave. Big up, Mick. Great to see you, my man. We have Donavision tuning all the way in from Canada. Santa, Dave, and Jack Frost, please deliver 3 points today. Thank you. Look, we'll do our best, my man. We will do our best. The team already know how me and Jack feel. They know what they need to do tonight, my man. Carl Simpson says, good afternoon, gents. Hope you are all well. Come on, Spurs. Don't you go ruining my weekend on a Friday. Do you know, I was just saying that, the Outland was actually just saying that to me. He was like, I hate Tottenham playing on a Friday night. We don't do well on Friday nights. And, it'll end up ruining the weekend if we don't win. So we better get that win, Carl. Big yourself up, my man. We also have Richo65. Hi, guys. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Richo. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. Johnny Maddox says, morning, I'm excited to watch us chop down the Forest. Absolutely love it, lad. One night only. It's allowed for one night only. John Bamford says, Spurs to finish higher than Arsenal. Arsenal to finish fifth and to get no Champions League. Now, there's someone sticking his neck on the line. I absolutely love it. Big up, John. Richo also says, first game at Bramley Moore. Is the start of 25-26 season. Big disappointment. We also have Jason Bell. Big up, everyone. Big up, my man. Good to see you in the building. We also have Jamie Gates. Says, Dave, don't ever change that intro music. You hear me? Don't worry. It'll never change, my man. Gets people absolutely pumped up. I've had videos of people running through walls and everything. It's absolutely madness, my man. We also have Stephen Wilson. I'm going for the 5-0 scoreline. Come on, Richie. Yeah, boyo. Oh, look, it'd be nice for Richie to double it up today. Look, I do have a question about a bit later on. He hasn't scored in back-to-back games since we signed him from Everton. So, he really has a big job on his hands today, my man. We also have Guns Football and Things. Love the end of the countdown. So sick. Come on, you Spurs. Yeah, me and Jack walking out that tunnel. It's absolutely quality. It gets me riled up every time. I do envision myself in the chirpy outfit walking out there one day, though. I will say that, my man. Scotty Hynam says, big up to all. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Scotty. Good to see you in the building, sir. Along with Derek Hutchinson. Big up, Dave and Jack. 3-2 Spurs tonight. Come on, you Spurs. Good to see you in, Derek. We have Big Pants. I agree with Dave's team selection. Look, it's great to see people agree with it this week, my man. I got absolutely pelters for it last week. Turns out, I don't know, maybe you can start calling me Mini Postacoglu. I'm not sure. Whatever you want to call me, you can. But big up, Big Pants. We also have KM, routine game. Look, it should be a routine game, but I think if we learn anything at Tottenham, nothing is ever routine, my man, ever. Big up, Moondog. Great to see you. What bet have you got on today? Let me know. Give me the goods. We also have Tottenham Tom. Hi, come on, you Spurs. Love game day. Big up. Absolutely, my man. We all do. We're pumped for it. Gabrielle 1 says Spurs 4-1. Absolutely love that. Kev Williams Good to see you, sir. Says big up the Tottenham Flat Cap Army, you legends, smashing down trees tonight. Let's go. Absolutely cannot wait, my man. And look, if they don't want to come down, we'll just mow them down, one or the other. You know what I mean, lad? They can put up all the resistance they want. I like a bit of sap in my tea anyway, so, you know, I'll just drain that out of them. We also have Jamie Stu 07. Where is Johnny? Who's Johnny, my man? Oh, Johnny.
That should be his username. That's because of what he says that, you know, whenever he's missing Johnny, you know, that should just become his username. Where is Johnny?
Oh, I love that. Love that. Steve Wilson says, hi, Jack, Dermo, and Davy Boy, and Ribsy. I'll throw Ribsy in there. You forgot him. He says, I'm going for the 3-0 or the 5-0 scoreline. I've been a Richie and Porro here. I'm now a Porro lover. Want to be a Richie lover now. Look, what I will say is I did ask Pedro Porro on your behalf, Steve. Is it too late to join the Pedro Porro fan club? It turns out he's a nice guy. He says, Dave, it's Christmas time. If they want to hop on board, they can, but I'll never forget who was there first. So, Steve Wilson, welcome to the Porro club, my man. Big yourself
Porro's
up.
a lover. He's not a fighter.
Unless he's on the football pitch. Next Level English says, sorry, guys, can't see us winning this game. Did you not say that last week before the Newcastle game as well? Pretty sure you did, lad. Pretty sure you did. Also, big up Hollywood Hotspur 4-0, and he's yelling timber. Absolutely love it, my man. Rayman says, afternoon all. More Ange ball. Come on, you Spurs. Absolutely.
Please.
Big up, brother. Also, Killian Gubins, great to see you. Happy Crimball. Come on, you Spurs. I'm 19. Happy birthday to you, sir.
Legend. Good
to see you in the building. Also, Shem Tan says, hey, Dave, Jack, and Ribsy. Got a good feeling about tonight. Going to be a 2-1 final. And we're all going to have a great weekend. Come on, you Spurs. I really do hope so, my man. I really do hope so. I love this time of the year, so it would be nice. Let's welcome
lots
a couple
of 3-1s
more people
again.
in. Huh?
Lots of 3-1 predictions again.
Yeah, a lot of them. A lot of them. Look, I'll take it all day long. We also have Daniel Horton all the way in from Alaska. I remembered, my man. I remembered. Just finally a decent start time for your Alaskan support. Big up, guys. Big up, my man. Great to see you. We also have a regular gamer in the house. Good to see you. Says, come on, you Spurs. We also have Martin Knightsbridge tuning in all the way from Spain. How's Big Tyler getting on, my man? Taylor, sorry, Big T. How's he getting on, brother? Let me know. And then we have Soul Spurs Legacy. What are the odds of Romero missing the everything game? I mean, we'll get into that as well. Him and Adoji are walking a tightrope tonight. Moondog says, good evening, lads. Come on, you Spurs. I've got Richie first goal scorer.
Moondog. I was looking at the Richie odds of a brace today, and I thought about it, but I'm sort of stuck to my principles. I just sort of like, you know, just sort of leaving it to Spurs to get the job done. You know, don't have to worry about, you know, certain, you know, kind of bets of, you know, them to try to get something over the line. But God, was I tempted today looking at those, you know, Richie. It's just because him getting another brace would just be so good for him, so good for us, and would also just be that kind of motivation I think that the whole squad could use, you know, based on his whole sort of struggles at Spurs, like, and everything like that. So I just really, really hope for a Richie brace today. I think it's a lot to ask, but I really hope for one. And I was just looking at the odds for it today, and I was just like, God, that would be delicious. But I think it's, you know, it's a risky one. Like, it's, you know, I think you have to be a delusional Spurs fan, you know, to, you know, put something on that sort of outcome. But Moondog, I love it. Richie first goal scorer. I'm envisioning maybe a header this time, perhaps not with the feet, but it'd be lovely if he continues to score with the feet.
Do you know what I'd love to see him go for a header, but lean up and do the pigeon like that when he headers it? That'd be absolutely unbelievable. That'd be the ultimate. But Ribsy, do you agree with Moondog here? If you were a betting man, would you be looking at Richie first goal scorer today?
Well, this is the guy that had spent a whole season putting it on Eric Dyer to get the first goal. So I mean, he's used to it. What we call a roughie in Australia. I don't know whether that's an international term, but I reckon that's a good shout. I mean, Richie's got a goal. He's playing well, so why not?
If you score early too, right, Ribsy?
Yeah. Often sun with the early one, right? But you know, why not? Who knows?
You never know.
One of those pullbacks from the byline.
Exactly. He's going to be the fox in the box today, Moondog.
Yep.
Look, I don't know if I would have put him down first goal scorer. I would have put him down to score any time for sure, but I know you get more if you predict the right one. But look, who am I to judge? I mean, you have got the last few right. So big up, Moondog, my man, and big up to Charlie as well, by the way.
Legend.
We also have Daniel Sandoval joining us as well. Great to see you. Big up, one love. Come on, you Spurs. And we also have Longy says if strikers are on form, it's free scoring time. 4-0 Spurs, Richie and Son. Absolutely love that. Now, of course, let's give you everything you guys need to know. Of course, we are at the City Ground tonight. Kickoff is at 8 p.m. Absolutely cannot wait for it. Referee is Jared Gillet. I believe he's actually Australian, believe it or not. So he's in charge today. And then in the VAR room, it is Michael Oliver. Now, bit of background behind Michael Oliver. So if I do go off on a tangent tonight, I have absolutely due course to this olive tree. He was the one that sent off Romero in the Chelsea game. He's the one that sent off Adoji in the Chelsea game and done everything in his power to rip down that 10-game streak. And he didn't even give us 50-50 decisions either. So that's exactly who that guy is. And if he's up to his own tricks today, I swear to God, I will find his house and I'll do a silent protest outside.
Is there a reason he's an olive tree of all the trees you've picked in particular? Olive trees? Is there a particular reason you have it out for olive trees?
No, just his name is Oliver. Olive trees. Oh gosh, Jack.
Yeah, I'm a little slow today. You're a little quicker than me. But also an olive tree is quite easy to probably cut down, I would think, compared to maybe some of the bigger trees around, Nottingham, I would imagine. So an easier one to cut down.
Oh, he better just don't interfere today. Just do not interfere. And then if you want to watch the game on TV in the UK and Ireland, of course, it's on Sky Sports USA. It's on NBC, SN, sure, it's on Peacock as well. In Australia, I think it's on what's the name of the Australian channel?
Optus, mate.
Optus Sports, that's the one. And in Canada, it's on Football TV. So that's where all you guys can watch the game. Didn't bother doing an injury table because we're just stacking up now. It's just gone beyond belief. It actually comes off the page now. So everyone knows who's injured. I'm sick of reading it out every week. It just hurts my eyes. So we're going to move on swiftly from that. For Forest, the only notable mention out tonight is Awinoyi, or however you pronounce it. Good striker as well, by the way. So it's good that he's out. But look, let's get straight into it, and we'll kick off with you, Jacko. Tottenham have just won 3 of their 12 Premier League games played on Fridays, drawn 4 and losing 5 in the process. Their lowest win rate on a specific day of the week in the competition, with only 25% win rate. Does that stat concern you heading into tonight's game? And what is maybe so different about playing on a Friday night compared to any other day of the week? Why do we struggle on Fridays?
Probably, I think it's usually just because teams that might be, we said this to the members, right? Teams that might be struggling can probably benefit from a Friday night sort of fixture against a big team like Spurs, because even if you're playing poorly, there's probably just that sort of expectation that comes into the game from the fans that you are going to raise your levels. Like, even if you are a bad team, like, you are going to raise your levels. You're going to be more focused. You're going to come out maybe out the gates even faster than you normally do, not really expecting maybe as much of a, maybe a 3-0 drubbing or something like that, maybe more expecting that you might have a closer game, you can maybe get something out of this. Crystal Palace, I think we're a good example of that. I mean, they were absolutely terrible the moment that the game became out of reach. Like, they just gave up, like, completely. But any time that the game was still within reach, they looked like a much better team, despite them, I think, in general, being probably one of the worst teams around the Premier League this season. And I could say that probably about some other sides. And I think Friday night games just probably bring out better performances out of what could be even good teams, but also I think even bad teams as well. I just think if you are the home side, having a Friday night game just sort of probably benefits you on a lot more times than it probably, goes against you. It's just that sort of fixture that I would be excited to go to if it were, Spurs at home. And I think even Forest fans who are worried about Steve Cooper and everything might feel like, it's one of those nights where maybe the boys will be more up for it because the fans will be more up for it. There's pressure already on the team, and it just makes it a more difficult game than usually on paper it would be, right? If you just looked at it on paper and simply.
Just before we bring the Tron in, we have to give him his entrance, so we'll wait a second to bring him in. But do you agree with Longy here? He says if Olive is on VAR, we're against 12 men tonight. So does that make it even more difficult, Jack?
It would be great to have, an agenda, because, we're so blessed to have Simon Hooper on our side for, a few days long. And he's, real blessing to Spurs fans. He's welcome to sit at my table, but most of the rest of the referees definitely cannot. And I would, imagine that Olive, is either going to make up for the Romero incident, with the VAR, or he's going to double down on it. I don't think it's going to be anything in between. He definitely has, for sure, some sort of kind of eye on the Spurs players, definitely. So that does worry me. But we've been playing against 12 against referees for a lot of games this season.
Very true. Very, very true. Before we get Ribsy in, let's bring in the one and only Tron. Lateness is greatness. How are you, sir?
I am fine. As you know, the prophet always comes when the prophet is ready, and the prophet's now ready to come in to show everyone the way of the Spurs Bible and to follow Ange, the prophet. Ange is Moses. We're just his disciples, and we're following his way to the promised land. So yeah, thanks for having me on. Big up, guys.
No, great to have you, Tron. You did forget the word apprentice after prophet. I told you
I'm
last
no
week.
Dave.
You
I'm
didn't want Richarlison started, so that makes you my apprentice. I'm the prophet, my man.
I am no one's apprentice. I am my own prophet. I don't follow anyone bar Ange. That's it. I'm nobody's apprentice. I am my own prophet.
Well, good to have you, though. Good to have you. Also, welcome in Ollie Freeman, my man. Great to see you. She's on the way home. Spurs are on. Beers in the fridge. Hopefully, it's an 8-pack, Ollie. Hopefully, you've gone for the 8 instead of the 4, my man. Double up. It is Friday. Big up, sir, and hopefully you're keeping well. Ribsy, does that stat that I read out about Tottenham's performances on Friday night concern you? Does it give you even more jitters heading into tonight's game?
Well, we've had a little bit of practice at it now, so maybe there'll be some sort of improvement. Yeah, look, it does concern me a little bit. As Jack was saying, it's a little bit of an exhibition, that Friday night match. Maybe some of these smaller teams, they're going to be up for it. They're going to come out firing. So we got to be prepared for that. And hopefully that means they come out with a head full of steam and try and score on us early, and we can get in behind them, and we can do some damage ourselves. But it's just with us, it just seems to be we need to score, and we need to score again, and we need to do it in a relatively short amount of time, or else we start to get frustrated, and that's where we all start seeing the same warning signs. We all see it, around that 60-minute mark. We're like, oh no, this is going to happen again. So as long as we're good in there before that sort of point of the game, or it's or something's happening that we haven't seen before, I think we'll be pretty comfortable tonight.
I really do hope so. Ange does love breaking records, so hopefully this is another one he can shatter to smithereens. Now, before we get going into the real juicy questions that I've got planned for today, everyone, please make sure you do the housekeeping, the routine sort of stuff in terms of smashing the like. Absolutely very important. Also sharing out the stream to all your families and friends who also want to get equally as pumped up as you do for these games. Telling them to smash the subscribe button. As always, as we go along, please get your answers to the questions that are talking points in the chat. We will bring up as many as we can as we go along. But if you really want to sort of dictate the questions or steer the conversation another way, feel free to make it a super chat. Great way to support your boys on their quest of hopefully Tottenham win the Premier League before I die. That would be absolutely lovely. But look, we will crack on, and I'll bring up the next question for you guys. And we'll start with you on this one, Tron. We'll bring you in and work our way back around. Ange Postecoglou's record of 9 wins, 3 draws, and 4 defeats with 33 goals scored and 23 goals conceded in 16 Premier League games is exactly the same as Antonio Conte's at this stage last season. Last season, the noise was turning to Conte out. What is different this year under Ange, who the fans absolutely adore? I know you don't have to give me credit. It's a great question.
The last one was also great.
Who was that to? Sir.
I think it's to the Tron.
To me, sorry, Dave. Look, can you repeat the question, Dave? I'm sorry. I'm so running late today. My brain is completely dead.
Thermo's not listening. You can take it, Jack, and we'll work our way around.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I was listening. I just couldn't. There was something happening. Sorry.
You're all good. You're all good. Jack, you want to take it?
Just kind of like on the difference between, the noise around Antonio Conte and the noise around Ange sort of this season.
Yeah, so basically we're at the same stage where we were underneath Antonio Conte last season. Goals scored, goals against, wins, draws, losses, points on the board. What's the difference between maybe the vibe that was around last year compared to this year?
It's a good question, because I think it reminds me of the debates of what's it called? Like, they're getting over the line, they're getting the results, but it's not convincing, or they're getting the results and they're not playing as well as they should be, or they're not playing as well as they could be, type of thing. Even Arsenal's had this tag, I think, a lot this season, if I'm not mistaken. Even Liverpool have sometimes had this tag a lot this season, like they're not playing. Man United definitely in a lot of their games, whenever they've gotten a result where it feels like maybe it wasn't that convincing at the end of the day. But Spurs sort of had that under Antonio Conte, where it felt very controlled, felt like the game was sort of like kind of either team could have won it. But Spurs eventually just sort of got over the line, and would kind of win the game 1-0, 2-0. And it was sort of kind of typical. It just kind of happened with these Harry Kane late headers, or Richarlison actually would come on and kind of make an impact, or some other substitute would come on, make kind of a late impact, and we would kind of get a late goal of some sort. But mostly everybody sort of felt like this isn't going to last. This isn't sustainable. And that's sort of the debate around teams that sort of do that, where they're not playing all that convincingly or not really going for it, but they're still getting the wins and getting the results. But I think in Ange Postecoglou's case, we're having some incredible performances where we're absolutely dominating teams and, really taking it to them and really looking like we could put 3, 4, 5 past them, but we're not getting the results maybe as much as despite the beautiful play. So I think it's a fascinating debate, because under Conte, you could say sometimes the games were far more controlled, right? Like it was kind of like, he would sort of like boa constrict, the other team into just not being able to do anything. But he also allowed Spurs to just sort of pick their moments to, hurt them. But it wasn't like Ange, which is just full force where we want to dominate you for 90 minutes, type of thing. We didn't have that under Conte. And I think that frustrated people, that we didn't go after teams like Crystal Palace or Luton Town and try to dominate them for 90 minutes. We would, just sort of make them not want to play football, or really make not anybody want to play football ever again, I guess, in some cases.
No, look, I fully understand what you're saying, and look, we'll head down to Ribsy and then come back to Tron. I mean, Ribsy, just to continue on from what Jack is saying, is it just down to the manner of the performances and the way we're winning, losing, and drawing games, or is it down to, like Steve Wilson, I think, says, well, Conte never had 9 first-team players out, that's the difference, stuff like that. I mean, is there any other difference about the manner of the performances on the pitch?
Yeah, I think that that first half of a season when Conte came in as well, the football that he was playing wasn't quite as painful to watch. I'm sure that there's a lot of ways you could break that down and show the differences. But going from his first, stint, his half a season with us, it was really positive at the end. We got back into the Champions League. Everyone was, very happy about it. And then obviously he convinced people at the club that, if you let him play whatever football he wants to play, he's going to be able to do something really exciting. And then we slugged it out for months and months playing the worst football imaginable. And we got some results. We got some results that are comparable to what we've got right now. But as Jack was saying, the manner of the victories and the manner of the draws and the manner of the losses was very frustrating to watch as fans. So having results that would, for lack of a better word, crap, just made us go, okay, enough of this, please. Can we have something else? Like literally anything else.
Slimy 1-0 wins, against like Crystal Palace, and Dave and I would celebrate those to the max, but, I think.
Of course, no. I mean, I'm still happy to see the team win, but I'd rather see them win, literally any other way. So, and on top of that, I mean, it was just, Conte quite early was starting to say some more negative things about the club, whereas of course Ange has had nothing but positive things to say about the club, and even in the times when he's literally asking for players, he's doing it in a respectful way that's respectful to the club and to the fans and to the players that he currently has. I mean, he's being a grown-up man about it and not being, a slimy weasel about it. So not the weasels are slimy, but you know what I mean. The mental image still works.
I agree with everything there as well, in terms of the way he conducts himself in the press conference. When Antonio Conte was there, he was almost trying to use Spurs history as a motivation, but the recent history of not winning anything, that's what he was trying to use maybe to motivate. Whereas Ange Postecoglou references the times where we win trophies, the happier memories and stuff like that. So that definitely helps. I'd also go down and argue to say, I think Postecoglou has a better squad to choose from now, even better backups than what Antonio Conte did have to choose from. But saying that, I'd also argue Antonio or Postecoglou's signings have had a quicker impact at the club than maybe the signings that we made underneath Antonio Conte, which has also been a huge sort of benefit. Considering there were sort of question marks about some of these signings. Are they cheaper? Will it have an effect on the pitch and stuff like that? So I also think, there's that to it as well. Just before we go on to trying to get his answer on it, Martin Nicebridge did say it's a great question, and Tron missed it, Dave. I know. It's absolutely popping off. People seem to be enjoying it and everything. Tron missed it. But look, Martin, I think it's only fair we give him a chance to redeem himself. Let's see if he's gained
You
some
think the
composure.
prophet would know, right?
Well, the prophet should always have composure.
I knew the question ahead. That's why I let everyone else have the answer, because I knew what was going to happen. Dave, I can only apologise for that. It's never happened to me before. I mean, look, the prophet can have an off 2 minutes, you know that. But look, I think everyone seems to forget when Conte came in, he was this almighty God that's come in to save our football club. But very, very quickly, it became very obvious that he wasn't for us. He was playing defensive football, which is going against our DNA. It's a bit like Tottenham was Superman and Conte was kryptonite. If you want to use it that, Conte and the way him and Mourinho were playing were totally kryptonite to our football. Andrew's come in. He's come in with a breath of fresh air. Dave falls off the chair laughing nearly. He's coming with a breath of fresh air. He's coming with an attitude of, this is the way we're going to play. It was good enough for Bill Nick. It was good enough for Keith Birkinshaw. It was definitely good enough for Arthur Rowe. And it's been Tottenham's success down the years. I'm going to stick to this. It's the way I want to play. And he hasn't even changed his philosophy. I said it in my pre-match video. He has stuck to his guns. If that was Conte would be changing his philosophy every 5 minutes. No player can get behind that. Ange's come in. He said, this is my philosophy. This is the way we play. You're either going to get behind me. If not, then you're not going to be a part of it. And all the players, apart from Eric Dyer, have got behind it. You can't say Dombele's get behind it because he's still trying to search for a kebab shop in Istanbul.
I mean, it's hard enough trying to pull him out behind the McDonald's counter at this point.
Well, that's what they're doing. I think he's got a job working in McDonald's while the Turkish league's suspended. But Ange, for me, is such a breath of fresh it's such a
breath of fresh air.
Thank you. I couldn't get that word out. It's been one that it's going to be one that
I didn't want to come across condescending. I didn't know whether to help you or not.
Yeah. And I just think it's been brilliant. It's been brilliant for the club. It's been brilliant for Tottenham. It's been brilliant for us fans. And we're loving it. Good, bad, the ugly. We're playing the way we want to play. We're doing it our way. And we can get behind that. Behind Conte and Mourinho, we couldn't get behind it. But there is a but coming. There's still the same players there that threw Mourinho, that threw Conte, and Nuno and Poch under the bus. Who actually ever thought that Eric Dyer were outplaced Harry Kane? We never thought that would happen. I mean, but look, I love Ange. If you can't love this man more, you just fall more and more in love with him. He is playing the modern push and run. Puskás taught Ange. Arthur Rowe taught Puskás. It's a full circle. Ange has come home. Arthur Rowe is home.
Hopefully he's here to deliver trophies, Dermo. Absolutely spot on, my man. And Martin Nicebridge comes back in, says the Prophet's apprentice has redeemed himself.
I am not the apprentice. I am not the apprentice. I am telling you, I follow no man apart from my missus. I follow her, but that's about it.
But big up, Martin. Big up. He's definitely starting to redeem himself for sure, Martin. Big yourself up, brother. Absolutely love that. He's cracking me up, Martin, is today. Just quickly before we move on, Big Punch also says all the pundits enjoy watching us. Last year they didn't. Is that also a big thing sort of around it this year? Because look, regardless whether we admit it or not, you know, a lot of everyone's fan base is influenced by about what the pundits say, by like what the media says and everything else. Like as soon as Jamie Carragher came out and said Conte should be sacked, everyone used what he said as a point of reference, saying he was absolutely bang on and demanded for him to be sacked. So is that another big difference, like Big Pants maybe has alluded to here? I think it is, personally.
Yeah, it's a great point, to be fair. And it is a huge difference. They do sort of dictate the narrative or the conversation around different managers, and even managers that sometimes I think like should be under trouble just because the media might not be talking about them. Therefore, the manager isn't actually under that much trouble as maybe he could be. And they do have sort of agendas and whatnot with different managers, with style of play, maybe players that they're picking, not picking, sort of things like that, can come, up at times. But just, sort of on Ange, Dave, I got a little bit upset where I thought there's a bit of, double standards going on where like you would see so many pundits, say things like Spurs are playing the best football I've seen in years, like type of cliche comments, right? Like that. And then the moment that we started losing games after all of the injuries, they were saying Ange is naive. He's going to get absolutely slaughtered in the Premier League, all these sort of type of things. I'm like, how can you say those two things? Like, I don't think you can say those two things. Like, that's not really fair to Ange at all, because the moment we lose a game with all the injuries, all of a sudden he's not allowed to, play the football that he's playing. It's just, but then at the same time, they're saying that's the best first half of football I've ever seen, the same guy, that's criticizing Ange, a week later. It got a bit frustrating in that case. But around Conte and Jose, I mean, let's be honest, even if people who liked them, it was all about waiting for them to fail. It really was. The moment that they started failing, kind of the sharks and everybody do come after them because they're not well-liked guys. Whereas Ange, for his style of play and for the person that he is well-liked. And I think he will, for the most part, have that, longer leash in a way, hopefully.
Great point. Ribsy, Dermo, anything else you just want to add before we get on to Matthew Super Chat here?
I just want to say very quickly to Jack's point about the pundits making they're idiots. Gary Neville, an idiot. They're all bloody idiots. Roy Keane, another idiot. They're all doing it for TV. They're all saying, "Oh, Man United did this and that." Tottenham are playing the best football in the Premier League. For once in your life, just give us credit, good, bad, or ugly. You can't say Ange is the greatest thing since sliced bread and then lose a game. Then he's as worse as Ten Hag. At least Ten Hag is actually doing it right and being dreadful all the time. He's consistently being bad. Do you hear them complaining about Ten Hag? No. As soon as the best manager in the Premier League makes one mistake, they're all jumping on his back. Gary Neville and Lot need to get a life. Just watch and learn from the greatest team in the land. That is Tottenham Hotspur. Just watch that and then you will be happy. Forget Man United, Gary Neville. If you're watching, just support Tottenham. We all know you're a Spurs fan with Roy Keane deep down. We know deep down. You go to bed in your Tottenham pajamas and your Tottenham duvet. So we all know you support Tottenham, Gary Neville.
Fun fact, Roy Keane was actually a Spurs fan growing up. You wouldn't think it with some of the punditry on Spurs, but he was.
Graham Souness was in our youth academy when he started. He started at Tottenham, Graham Souness did.
Yeah.
Bill got rid of him.
Ribsy, anything else you want to add, my man? No?
You said it all, guys. You said it all.
Right. Well, let's take this chat here from Matthew. He says,
just quickly, quickly, maybe I'm a little sorry. Colin Cross, actually, maybe to summarize it best, I think it's that Spurs are becoming like, the second favorite team to watch so far this season, which is why, again, I was frustrated that the pundits were so quick, to go after Ange, despite calling Spurs, their second favorite team to watch. I thought that was frustrating.
Absolutely spot on. We were that under Pochettino and we lost that way. We're slowly starting to get that back, which is absolutely spot on. Good point, Jacko. Ribsy Matthew says, big up Santa Dave, Jack, Lord Dermot. Don't boost his ego anymore. Don't do that, Matthew.
I am no Lord. I told you that.
He says, long time since watched the match. Looking forward to this one. Well, first of all, Matthew, my man, look, hopefully you sit down and you get to enjoy the game. Hopefully we get a few goals on the board for you, my man. But look, it's good to see that life's busy for you. Hopefully you've been out working and that's the reason why you've been missing the games. Hopefully you haven't been like locked up in prison or something like that, lad. Hopefully it's been because you have been working. But big up, Matthew. Great to have you in the building, my man. I mean, what would you do if you were in Matthew's shoes? First time you sat down to watch a game in a while. You're talking cans in the fridge, takeaway, feet up. I mean, what would you do?
Mate, I would open a cold beer. I would get a little esky full of more cold beer and put it near me so I don't have to get up and go to the fridge. And I put my softest socks on and my comfiest Tottenham shirt. And I'd warn everyone within a 3-block radius that they're going to hear me screaming for the next 2 hours.
Nice pre-warning in advance.
Absolutely love it.
That.
Oh, I love it. Well, big up, Matthew, my man. Make sure you get round and warn the neighbours early, lad. That's what I would say. Big up, Matthew. Great to see you in, though, sir. And then Tom Markinen says, oh, he's just a new YouTube member. Big up, Tom, my man. Really appreciate it. I believe he's already been a member. Maybe he's just upgrading it or updating it. But big up, Tom, my man. Big up, lad. Welcome to the community if you haven't. And look, make sure you get involved in all the sort of community content that we've got going on there. Me and Jack always sort of do videos just for the members and stuff like that. So make sure you check that out. And if it's not too late, get involved in the fantasy league. Your boys are climbing up the league. Just a warning shot to everybody else out there. But big up, Tom, my man. And big up, everybody. Really do appreciate support. It really does mean a lot. But look, we'll move on from that absolutely fantastic question. I mean, it's going to be hard to double up on it. But Jacko, we'll start with you, my man. While Tottenham received praise for our result against Newcastle United, they were also in a similar vein of form to Nottingham. We were also in a similar vein of form to Nottingham Forest that they're going through at the minute. Are Spurs slowly starting to turn things around after a 5-game run without a win, or did we just get lucky against a team that was absolutely out on their feet?
I think we absolutely smashed Newcastle, and I don't think that's easy to do, no matter even if they are out on their feet or, even they gave a lot of teams some pretty good games, right? Didn't even when they were sort of in their height of sort of their injury crisis, they still got that result, despite maybe, the controversial call that, Arteta is still crying about to this day. But they still had a good performance in there despite being out on their feet, right? And I know it was at home and everything, but still, I think it's not an easy team to beat no matter what sort of situation they find themselves in. Also too, maybe because Eddie Howe's not really a bad manager. He's a smart guy, it seems like, in these, at least in the Premier League so far this season, he has been for sure. So I feel like Spurs can take a lot of momentum from that. But did we need that win? Absolutely. And I think Ange did say, even jokingly in the press conference, he sort of said, right, if I hadn't won that game, you'd be after me, this week. And so, because he was referencing that Steve Cooper is under a bit of pressure, right? So there is I think, pressure in a way almost all around. I think Spurs are under pressure to try to get a good result here and try to carry some momentum to climb back up the table, because if they don't get a good result here, there will be more questions again about how serious we are in the top 4 and everything like that. But if Steve Cooper, doesn't get a result here, they're after him. So pressure all around.
Absolutely massive pressure. I mean, Ribsy, where are you at with that? Are Tottenham sort of coming out of it, or did we sort of just get lucky against a team out on their feet? Do you agree with Jack?
It's got to be a bit of both, right? Because that, even with their injuries and our injuries and such, you got to say that bollocking we gave them probably wasn't quite on the cards. We played well, don't get me wrong, and I was super, I was there for it. I'm super happy to see it, but maybe that sort of scoreline isn't going to happen for us away at this point. I mean, who knows? Maybe we will. But I agree. I think, there's probably a bit of both in there.
Dermo, where are you at with it? I mean, you're a bit more delusional than the two boys. Do you think we definitely earned that result? It was coming, and that we're maybe coming out of that difficult period, the dark times?
Look, we've I mean, Forest have been on bad run, no wins in the last 5. Tottenham 1 win in the last 4 against Newcastle. Look, that game was coming. I don't subscribe to Newcastle had injuries. We had injuries. We were better on the day than Newcastle. They had one eye on AC Milan, and we took advantage of that. Look, I think we are on the momentum. We've got to back it up tonight. This is so important. With the first game of the Premier League weekend, we need to put the teams above us under pressure. We need to get a win tonight that puts pressure on the Man City, puts pressure on the top 4. If they slip up, then we're going into the last games before Christmas with a chance of being in the top 4 for the Christmas period. I think there's more pressure on Steve Cooper than there is us, to be fair. I think Steve Cooper's job's hanging by a thread. And from what I'm hearing, it's if he loses tonight, he could be gone by the weekend. That's the news I'm hearing. But I think Ange can go in this game quite confident of getting a result tonight. We can be confident in our own ability and confident that we can get a result. And I think Richie, in the form he's in, needs to back it up tonight. Ben Davies needs to back it up. But if they do, then we shouldn't fear anyone. Why should we fear Nottingham Forest? We should be going up there and should be saying to them players, You've did it once for me. Now back it up and go and do it again. And that's what they need to do. We need to keep putting the teams above us under pressure. We've gone through a bad patch. Every team goes through a bad patch in the Premier League. We've gone through ours. The rest of them have to yet to go through theirs. We just have to picking up points. And the win tonight is vital. A win is vital tonight. They've got to back it up. That's the thing.
Yeah, look, I agree. I think tonight will definitely sort of show us, whether we're coming out of that sort of bad spell of form or whether, we're in it. We were just lucky that we faced Newcastle sort of when we did. Look, I am the eternal optimist. I'd rather look at it that we've got one draw, one win, and only one loss in the last 3 games. That's the way I'd prefer to look at it personally. But look, tonight will tell us everything we need to know. After the big Man City result, late equaliser, stuff like that, you're thinking West Ham, go and show them who's daddy. We never done that, but then Newcastle came. They're now calling us daddy. Now it's time to make Forest do the same. That's what I say. But look, tonight will tell us everything we need to know. First of all, big up Scooter Reacts. Good to see you. Says, morning, chaps. Loving the 9 a.m.-ish Saturday morning kickoffs. Big up. Come on, you Spurs.
West Coaster.
Great to see you
Big
in the
up.
building. Also, we have Hennessy. He says, and Christmas begins. Irish coffee in hand. Look forward to tonight's Come On, You Spurs. Love to all. The gentleman on the channel. Big up, Hennessy, my man. Hopefully you do enjoy that Irish coffee. Hopefully you've done it right. You've used the brown sugar instead of white sugar. And you've also whipped the cream in a bottle and poured it on with a spoon. That is the proper way of doing it, my man. So hopefully it is done right. And it's not some of that shitty whipped cream on the top from the spray can, my man. But big yourself up, Hennessy. And happy Christmas to you, sir. Martin Knightsbridge, just quickly, Dale Radford says Forest versus Spurs is such a nostalgic fixture going back to the 90s and all our all-white kits in the snow. Come on, you Spurs, 2-0 win tonight. Do you remember that, Ribsy?
Oh, no, I've just seen photos of it. So, no, I'm sort of getting secondhand nostalgia from that. But, no, there's some cool footage out there of that.
It was also the game that Ricky Villa and Ozzy Ardiles made their league debut for Tottenham as well back in 1978 against Nottingham Forest. It was, I think we played away in the City Ground at August, and it was their first league game was against Forest as well. It's a bit of a history for you.
But believe it or not, I do actually have. I had a Forest jersey when I was a kid. I don't know if there's any Forest fans listening. It was an all-white one, long sleeve top, red Forest crest on. It was actually really, really nice jersey. Not that I supported it or anything. I was just over there.
Hang on a minute. Is there something coming out here that Dave was a Forest fan when he was younger? What's this all about?
No, Dermo. Your boy was like Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi combined when he was younger. So he was over there playing football, my man. Over there playing football. And we also have Martin Knightsbridge says Ruby Murray and Ribena for me. Absolutely love it. You can't beat a good curry, my man. Cannot beat a good curry. Let me know what sort of curry you're going for. I mean, are you going for like a chicken korma? Are you going for jalfrezi? Are you going for Chinese curry instead of Indian curry? Thai red curry, Thai green curry? I mean, look, as you can tell, I love curries, Martin. So let me know which one you're going for, my man. Big yourself up. Also, welcome in Ed Sweat and big up, guys. Let's go aggressive again tonight. Straight from the straight for the kill. Come on, you Spurs. Absolutely spot on. Welcome in also Jack Bloom. Hey, Spurs fans. Great to see you, sir. We also have Southview Coys. Good to see you in, Marlon. Left the best person until last in the prediction. Left the person that's always right in there, my man. Till last. We also have Colin Cross, boys. We are coming out of the tunnel, only 7 points behind the top teams. Have not entered their tunnel yet. Absolutely spot on. Good point. Big up to the Owl. Great to see you. Says, hello, boys. We will score 4 tonight. Dermot is spot on. The old push and run days are back. Come on, you Spurs. He's absolutely buzzing. He's loving Tottenham at the minute. Great to see you. You made me late, by the way. Everyone else out there is not forgiving you for it. Hennessy says, I love you, Dave. Of course I have. I might be only a quarter Irish, but my Irish coffee is 100%. That's what I love to hear, my man. Big yourself up. Good to see Spurs GCTV. 6-0 incoming. Love the positivity, lad. It would be nice if that happened. And then we had the Norwegian Viking says, come on, you Spurs. Absolutely love that. We have Keith Edwards. Keith, if there was supposed to be a comment in there, just put it in, my man, and we'll bring it up. Don't worry about that. If not, really do appreciate the support, sir. And then we also have Martin Knightsbridge, Alam Balti. Ooh, that's going to be a nice one. Nice one. You might want a glass of milk with that, though, I would say.
Yeah, is that spicy usually, Dave?
think about tea spicy, if I'm correct. Yeah, I
Okay,
think it's
nice.
a few chili peppers on the scale for sure. Big up,
Yeah.
Martin. Good choice,
Big up,
though. Good
Martin.
choice. Me, I'm more of a korma. I disappoint people. I'm more of a korma man. Coconut-based curry rather than a tomato-based curry. Absolutely love it. And then Sebas Wolves, member for 10 months. Great to see you. Says, come on, you Spurs. Let's win today. Big up, boys. Big up, Sebas, my man. Hopefully we do have 3 points on the board, and then we can sit back and watch how the Premier League unfolds and what the festive fixtures want to throw at us in terms of results. Hopefully a few losses there, sir. Big up, Sebas.
Big up,
Wolf. Great to
Sebas.
see you
Friday night,
included.
my man. Hopefully Spurs deliver a good result for you. Get to kick back, enjoy the rest of your weekend afterwards, my man. Hopefully, as well, I know you've been working pretty hard, as well. He has a pretty busy job as well, running his own business, Dave, and everything. So, Sebas, hopefully you have a good, weekend, and hopefully Spurs deliver. Don't ruin your weekend, as they maybe sometimes, have the odd occasion to do. But big up, Sebas, legend.
Running his
Appreciate
own
your support.
business. We love to see high achievers that are Spurs fans. Congratulations, my man. Big yourself up. Fair play to you. A lot of sweat and tears to get there, my man. Absolute legend. But guys, we'll all try and answer in on this. We'll start with Ribsy on this one. Ribsy, the next string of games over the December, we'll see us face Nottingham Forest tonight. Everton on the 23rd. Brighton and Bournemouth before sort of December ends. And while no game is a guaranteed victory, should Spurs be coming out December with a handful of wins? If not, 4 wins.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, we're better than all of those teams. We should get some players back. We might even get Mickey back early from some rumors today. So I mean, I would hate to. Yeah. Who knows? But look, I would hope for at least 9 points out of those fixtures. That'd be awesome. Or just take the whole lot. I mean, why not? What are we here for, right? We're all Spurs mad. We all think we're the greatest team in the world. So we should be beating all the teams that just frankly aren't as good as us, and that includes all of those teams, in my opinion.
Absolutely. You don't fear any of them. Like, you've got Brighton. I think that's away from home. That could be a tricky one. Everton could be a tricky one. You don't fear any of them. Think we should collect all the points. No.
Look, I mean, I'd be happy if we got 9. Probably more realistic is probably 7. But that's just the way it is. I fear them, sure. You've got to respect them. But Andrew's going to go into them all positive. And unless something even more drastic happens with injuries and such, cross fingers. But I think we should get a fair result. We should win the majority of those games at least.
Love that. Dermo, are you as confident? Are you seeking 12 points from them fixtures? Anything less, would that disappoint you?
Look, my head is saying, yeah. My heart's saying, yeah, go on. We can get all 12. We can win all of them. But being realistic, Everton's not going to be an easy game. But it's at home, so there's an advantage for us. Everton are unbeaten in the last 5, 4 wins and a draw. So I think we can get, I'm with Ribsy, I think 7 points. I think I would love more, but if you're being realistic, I do think, no, actually I'm going to go for 9 points and then get, how many games out of Christmas? 4, is it, Dave?
4 until the 1st of January.
Yeah. I think Brighton away is the trickier one. I think that's going to be really tricky. If we get a point there, I'll be happy with that. But I think the rest of the games should be winnable. But no game in the Premier League's easy. We've seen that every week at the Premier. Who thought Bournemouth would go up to Old Trafford and beat them 3-0? Nobody saw that coming. So I'm always the optimist. I'm always the deluded one, as you call me, that Spurs are going to win every week and we're going to roll all over them. But I think we need to win our home games, get 3 points at home, and just get a point away at least. If we remain unbeaten over Christmas, I'd be really happy with that. This is crucial for top 4. Christmas period is so crucial. We cannot drop any points or lose any games over Christmas because that will dent our top 4 chances.
Do you know what? For me, I'll be honest, I'm looking at all 12. Look, I get there's no easy game in the Premier League. And look, it's a very sort of competitive Premier League this year. We've already spanked Bournemouth up already down at their place. Bring them to our turf. Should be a bigger pitch, wider pitch. We should absolutely annihilate them. Who else have we got there? Everton. Look, that's going to be tricky, but I still think we should be beating Everton, especially since we're at home. Nottingham Forest tonight, we should be beating, and Brighton, we should be beating. Look, if we're serious and we're a team with serious aspirations, we need to be putting routine 3 points on the boards on these sort of fixtures if we want to claim Champions League. You know, it's going to be a big run this season. You've got Villa taking a run and they have the squad to compete. You've got Man City, you know, you'd like to think they're going to pick up at some time. Then you've got Arsenal and Liverpool as well. So it's going to be a very competitive race for top four. And you'd like to think Newcastle probably claw their way back into it at some stage. So for me, this is an absolutely crucial period. You know, we've done well against the big teams this year, but it's against teams you expect us to win where maybe we've let ourselves down. We cannot afford to do that on this run. We have to win all four. Jack, how many points is acceptable for you, my man?
He's just
Jack just said he had to move because of a protest or something.
Look, Dave,
I don't blame him.
Look, I agree with you when you're saying that we can't lose. It's important for top four. I get that. But it was always a rule in football. You win your home games and you take at least a point away from home. That was always the thumb rule. And I think we've got to think along them ways as well. Look, we all love to get 12 points. But I don't think it's possible. This Premier League season is so unpredictable. It's so competitive, especially everywhere from, I think, 7th up to the top. It's so tightly compact that a slip up for anyone and you're down the league again. So we've got to constantly just keep picking up the points, just keep getting the wins at home, get at least a point away from home. And that point, say if we get a point at Brighton, right, that point can mean everything to us at the end of the season. If we're fighting for a Champions League place and you look back during the season, Brighton, that's where we won it, when we got the point. Look, I'm hoping for 12 out of 12, but I've probably been a bit more not realist, but a bit more, I think, calm down a little bit because I know we won't win every game. But the thumb of the rule is 3 points at home, at least get a point away from home. And that's how people win leagues and people get into the Champions League because it's all about consistency. And that's what we've got to be, is the consistent.
Yeah, look, I hear you, but off the back of the tough spell we've come off, for me, they have to go on a winning streak now and put back-to-back together, victories together to be able to sort of, you know, claw their way back inside that top four. Look, let's see how they get on. I do understand what you're saying, though, Dermo. You are right in that sort of regard. But look, we'll keep on moving. I mean, we'll start with you on this one, Dermo. We have a handful of players running the risk of suspension tonight and missing the game versus Everton if they pick up a yellow card tonight in tonight's game. So them two players, that's Romero and Destiny Udogie. Do you have any faith Romero and Udogie be able to keep themselves out of the referee's book tonight?
Look, Romero, I've been saying it for a while. I think his reputation precedes him. And I think that's Romero's only problem. He's got a reputation now with referees in the Premier League. And as soon as they make a tackle, they're booking him straight away because of his reputation. Look, I rather lose them for the Everton game than I will for the games over Christmas, to be honest with you. And look, and it does prove the point. If we lose either one tonight, we're so bare to the bone. I don't want to go back to an Emerson Royale and a Davis, but Emerson Royale did well at that position, to be fair to him, and he did fill in well. But I rather them, if they're going to get a yellow card tonight, I rather one get one suspension for Everton and then one get one for Bournemouth. I don't want to lose two for Everton. But Romero's, I'm more worried for Romero than Destiny because his reputation will precede Romero. And all you got to do, Romero's just got to look at the player and he's falling down, clutching his face or his arm or his leg.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, a lot of people are saying that Romero should have been sent off against Newcastle. That was no way of sending off. I'm sorry. I don't agree with that. That was football is a physical game. When Dave, you and me remember the game we played. We've all played football. We've all played in the pouring rain, physical, thumping tackles, upending somebody. It's what football is all about. That's what it was back. And it's gone too soft, I think, football now. You can't even tackle a player. I mean, you touch a player on his nose and they're falling down like the nose has been broken or the jaw's been disconnected, put out of joint. It's ridiculous. I mean, that Romero should have been booked for diving at the weekend for Newcastle.
Yeah.
The referees need to start booking these plays for diving and nip it in the bud. It's a physical game. It's football. It always should be and always will be a physical game. Just get on with it. If you've broken your leg, then you come off. But apart from that, you just keep playing.
Yeah. Look, we'll get into Romero in just a moment, about maybe, the constant scrutiny of his game. But Ribsy, any fair either boys will sort of stay out of the referee's book tonight?
Look, if it happens, it happens. It's sometimes it feels like, so Romero went how many games at the start of this season without even getting a foul, let alone a yellow card?
I think it was like a run of 7 or 8, wasn't it?
Yeah. So he can do it. I mean, it's within him to do that. I think that there's a part of it is what Dermot said, is that people are watching him pretty closely now because, taking my Spurs fan hat off for a second and just as a football fan, the man puts in some fairly questionable tackles from time to time. I think we can all accept that. And a lot of them are very tactical. He's doing them, to thump someone that's in form or to disrupt the flow of the game, or a million reasons why you'd want to thump someone on the football field. He does do it primarily at times when it is necessary. The only ones that really bother me is when you see he just gets bored of not getting any football for a while and just runs out and just clatters someone like in the middle of the park for no reason. You just think, what are you doing, man?
You can see him, Ribsy. You can see him, can't you?
His eyes, his eyes go.
You can see him just looking around, right? He's looking around for Mir, so you can't see Mir. So right, Romero playtime. And it's like I always say, you remember the Tango advert back in the day? You've been Tango. I always say Romero tackles somebody, you've been Romero. It's like he gets bored, right? I'm having you.
No, it's like the pit bull in the street where someone leaves the gate open for a second and he just dashes out and just finds the closest chihuahua. It's just he's a nightmare. And if you're on the other team, like that's what people are terrified of, is that kind of he's unpredictable. If nothing else as well, you never know when he's going to absolutely blindside you. So yeah, look, it could happen. And if it happens, it happens. He's now got, I think that because he got that red and in the manner of the red, I think it means if he gets another one, there's like a longer suspension from what I've read about it as well, because it's to do with, so I'm not sure how that works with the 5-card limit as well. I'm assuming it doesn't, but yeah, four games, I think. Yeah. So look, Udogie, he has a yellow in him as well. He finds himself in those positions where he's the one who sort of has to take the foul to stop the runaway or whatever. So it's just depending on the flow of the game. If I see one that was unnecessary, it's gonna make me unhappy that it happened. But if it's one of those ones where you got to take the yellow, I mean, what are you going to do? That's the sport. That's how it's played.
Yeah. Look, for me, I think, if Udogie ends up picking up the suspension, there'll be little noise about it. If Romero picks up the suspension, there'll be absolutely headlines about it. You can already see it coming. But look, what I would say is, I'll be honest, you've got to kind of expect it's going to happen tonight. I mean, Udogie, with the way he's asked to play, help get up with the press, try and turn ball over. You're going to commit fouls the odd time. You're going to pick up cards. So there is a massive chance someone like Udogie could pick up his yellow today. In terms of Romero, again, the nature of the game that we play, it's up to him to get stuck in. That's also what Postecoglou wants from the likes of him and Udogie and people like that as well. So, look, look, they probably will pick up a yellow today and then they'll end up missing the Everton game. But, look, it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm going to get on to Romero in just one moment. Just want to throw this quick question out there, see if anyone's maybe concerned about it. But Tottenham have not kept a clean sheet in their last 7 Premier League games after keeping 4 in our first 10 games. I mean, are we concerned about this, and what do you put it down to? We'll start with you on this one, Jack. Welcome back in. You didn't want to join the protest now.
No, decided not to join the protest, sadly. Have a conversation.
Actually, just before I let you answer the question, let's take this from Tin Man with me. Sorry, I forgot. Big up, Tin Man. Great to see you. He says, big up, guys. Interesting comments from Ange wanting transfers done early. Let's hope Levy doesn't let him down. Come on, you Spurs. First of all, Tim, man, hopefully you're going to the game today. Hopefully you're there. Oh, no, it's a away game. You might not be going, actually. I think you only go to home games, but big up Tim, man, my man. Hopefully you get to chill out and watch it at home. Hopefully you don't have anything on and you can just sit there and relax. But Jack, Postecoglou asking for transfers to be done early. I think he's well within his right with the injuries we have, right?
He is well within his right. I do think he's been a good boy, this year, and I think he does deserve some good presence, Ange Postecoglou. What I find funny in this situation is that Daniel Levy is sort of acting as the Santa Claus, for Ange, and so he's going to be judging whether or not he deserves these transfers nice and early and a nice little package with a bow on it. I think Ange probably straight away needs a center back, within the first few days of January. I think that's almost a crucial striker, depending on sort of Richarlison's form, still needs to be done. But which one, how soon do you need to do it? And also with those, they're usually, big players, that probably, have bigger agents, and there might be more kind of falling parts and moves that, need to happen for that to get over the line. But maybe the first thing that should be on his doorstep come this, January is probably a center back, and maybe, I don't know, like another sort of kind of, maybe forward, by probably a few days after that. And hopefully he can get maybe a third signing, whatever we, probably will debate over in some sort of period in time. But I do feel like he does need something straight away. And I'd probably say it's center back. And I think he's been a very good boy this year, Dave. So he does deserve it from Santa Levy in this case.
No, look, 100% he deserves it. I think Levy sort of operates, whether we like it or agree with it or not, sort of operates, I'll put you in charge, I'll see how it goes, and then come the window, I'll see how much I sort of want to put in on your project. But what I will say is I don't think Ange Postecoglou has missed with a signing yet, which should give Levy more sort of hopefully confidence to open up the checkbook. The amount of injuries you have, hopefully give Levy, some urgency to open that checkbook. But also the fact that we're still clinging on just outside top four. Learn from your mistakes that you made last year. Last January, you didn't really want to go mad in the transfer window, and we ended up paying the price come the end of the season. So this January, make sure you open up that checkbook and give the guy the help he needs. We keep seeing this from managers. They come, they ask here for players. Why does every manager come here and ask for players? Because they don't feel what they've got is currently good enough. That's a recurring cycle. So go out and do the business that needs to be done, Tim, man. Like Jack says, centre back is first priority. I mean, I can't believe I'm still sitting here 3 years later, still asking for one, but here we are. You look into the forward area, you've got two options. You either go out and get a fucking proven goal scorer or an out-and-out winger with proven goals off the wing either. None of this bull crap of someone that's 19 years of age, not much experience coming in. Don't want any of that. You want someone that's proven to come in and hit the ground running. And potentially, I know the club are trying to warn off Barcelona. Personally, I think they're just trying to get cash out of Barcelona for the sell. So if that happens, you might see a centre midfielder come in here as well. But we need to do it early. You're absolutely spot on, Tin Man. Ribsy, anything you want to add to that before we move on?
No, that's it. I mean, with Perisic basically completely gone, Manor Solomon injured, you need that attacker as well. I think that the priority has to be that additional centre back, though, because I don't think you're going to see Dyer outside of an emergency come back into the team. I think that Ange gave him a fair shake at it, and that was it. So hopefully, anyway, but it's just going to come down to what's available, right? Because we're not, from looking at history, we're not going to overspend. We're probably not even going to spend to the value. What we're going to do is hopefully find that deal that works out for everybody. And obviously Mickey van der Ven was a perfect example of that, where a lot of professional punters and a lot of people on YouTube were saying, who's this guy? Is he really going to be good enough for the Premier League? Even fans of where did he come from? Wolfsburger or something?
Yeah.
Even those fans were saying, yeah, he's good, but he's raw. He's not ready for Premier League. He's going to be one for the next couple of seasons. And then look at him. He took off like a rocket. So if they find the right deal and they find the right guy, then I don't really care, what his name is and where he comes from. I've got a little bit of trust in our recruitment team at the moment, which I haven't had, like in the previous few seasons. So who they bring in, I'll give a chance, but you know, hopefully we get someone, because we can't just keep, you know, hoping that we're going to get away with the current squad that we've got, because there's just not enough players in there.
Spot on. And look, you know, to the point I tried to make yesterday, you know, and I probably just conveyed it wrong looking back at it, but about the centre backs, you know, there's no reason why we can't bring in someone to challenge Romero and Van de Ven. You know, we were talking last night, I think it was, about, you know, well, we can't bring in another A-class defender. They weren't A-class defenders when we bought them here. They were good defenders, but they became A-class at Tottenham. So why can't we go to the likes of the clubs that they were at where we picked them up from the first place, bring someone else in here of that sort of level, ready to challenge? It can be done, and I want to see it done. It's that simple. But big up, Tin Man. Absolutely love that, my man, dictating the talking points. That's exactly what we want from these. Really appreciate a big up, fans right fire in the building coming in there as well. Just everyone keep making sure you smash that like button for your Spurs boys up here. Hopefully we get the win. If you don't, we won't win, and I'll be blaming you. Make sure you keep sharing out the stream far and wide to all your family and friends. And like Tin Man, like so many others before him, feel free to dictate the talking points. Get them in, guys. Look, I'll take the quick question about the clean sheet, and then I'm going to get on to Romero. It could take a little while with Romero. Look, in terms of the clean sheets, haven't kept any in our last 7, whereas we kept 4 in the first 10. That does concern me. The reason why we went on that run in that 10 games is because we were keeping clean sheets. You keep clean sheets, you're always in a game. You'll never lose it. You can only draw or win from that position. So for me, it's absolutely crucial we get back to keeping clean sheets so we can go on another run and put another run together. Now, moving on swiftly from that, because it's not a great question, into this one. We'll kick off with you on this one, Jack. There is a lot of debate around Romero after a couple of late tackles in the 4-1 win against Newcastle. So let's find out maybe where people are at with this. Should he calm down, or do you want our vice captain to continue playing on the edge, Jack?
In an ideal world where humans can be perfect and flawless and infallible, yes, I would love that Romero would maybe, you know, calm it down a little bit from time to time. But I accept Romero for fully who he is. And I think he is a bit of a crazy person sometimes on the pitch. And he will just sort of have, you know, 2 wires sort of spark in his head. And he'll see like a red target in front of him, and almost kind of like Predator Terminator style, he'll just go after and just, you know, take him out of the game. And I think I see it from some of the best center backs that I've ever grown up with, you know, do it, where they had some pretty rash moments and they would, you know, have some tackles that were pretty questionable. You know, I even said it, you know, in one of the videos we did, some of the best ever center backs I had grown up watching, like Diego Godin, Chiellini, who just retired. I also look in the case of Sergio Ramos, Pepe, so many center backs, even Vidic. You know, you look at Man United as well. I mean, those guys had some rash moments in them. They would definitely, you know, take a player out if need be. They would have the dark arts, you know, pretty much mastered, you know, in plenty of games. And I think Romero's from that cloth, and there's nothing wrong with that. And that comes with, you know, moments where you get frustrated and, you know, he makes the wrong decision. He does unnecessarily grab a yellow card, but you know what? Most games he ends up winning with him on the pitch, right? We will lose more games with him off the pitch. I think you sometimes have to also put it simply, where are we a better team with Christian Romero in our team? We are a much better team with Christian Romero in our team. Also, what I think fails to kind of get mentioned a lot is how good he is on the ball as well. I think he's probably one of the best center backs in the Premier League, actually, in possession, because not only is he sort of unpressable, but he also, when kind of you give him that time and space, he kind of does punish you. He picks out passes that really get moves started and going. And he likes to play those, you know, sort of clip through balls. And he's not just a sideways merchant, you know, really on the ball when passing either. So there's so many elements of Romero that I think are just honestly elite and are actually, you know, probably up there with some of the best center backs out there with what he can do. And yes, he does have a rash moment in him. And yes, he can make a mistake, but it seems like we're so quick to hyper-analyze whatever mistake he might make in a game, despite when you look at sort of the game in general, Newcastle absolutely took Isak and so many other players out of the game and was so good in possession. But that seems to fail to get mentioned or get, you know, hyper-analyzed. What we'd rather hyper-analyze is that one rash moment that he had. And I'd actually take those rash moments because I actually find them to be quite fun. And I find them to be quite hilarious when he loses his head from time to time. I think it's part of
still yet to injure anyone.
Football. still yet to injure anyone, like Matty Cash. Good point. I don't know,
Yeah.
Ripsy. Like, do you like the dark arts sort of center backs? It's whether you like them or you don't like them, I guess, too.
Well, here's the thing. You were talking about how good he is on the ball, right? Well, I think it's no coincidence that the fact that everyone's shit scared of him gives him that extra half second on the ball. I mean, I wouldn't want to tackle him. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. But Ribsy, where are you on it? Do you want Romero in terms of defensively sort of? Jack's right, and I actually just quickly, I don't think that how good he is on the ball actually gets highlighted enough because everyone's way too focused watching the other side of his game. But where do you stand on that side of the game, Ribsy? I mean, do you want Romero to continue playing on the edge, or do you want him to calm down a bit?
I only think he's getting more yellows. It's a combination of being more focused on his game because, one, people are actually starting to ask the question, how good is this guy? And the counterpoint to that is, if he's not on your team, then yeah, he's good, but he's dirty, So that brings a spotlight onto it. But on top of that, I mean, we're forgetting. Well, we're not forgetting, but it's worth mentioning that Mickey van der Ven was the other half of that partnership, and those great results in the early part of the season were a combination of Romero and Mickey van der Ven playing together. And it's no secret that even though Davies had a very good game against Newcastle. You could argue that some of the other games, Romero's had to run himself a little bit closer to the edge in order to make up for the difference of not having someone next to him who can basically teleport around the pitch like Mickey does. So it's there's an aspect of it where he's making up as a leader should. He's making up the difference, and that's resulting in cards maybe, but it's a combination of things. It's not just one thing, I think.
Here's a good example of like why even like Sergio Ramos the other day, like in his, I think, Champions League game, he like chips the goalkeeper, like Panenka's the goalkeeper, and like a crucial goal that they like need to score if they want to mount a comeback, which just shows like elite mentality, like and everything, like in that moment to do that. Also away from home that he did that. But then because he's Sergio Ramos and because he's a bit of a crazy person like Romero, he immediately kind of like, I think he like studs the goalkeeper's hands, like, does this karate kick like on the goalkeeper's hands because the goalkeeper wanted to time waste and like, hide the ball away from him. So he basically just lashes out and kicks at the goalkeeper. And then it's like, well, that's just typical Ramos. But at the end of the day, he's just an elite player that has those sort of moments in him. And I would much rather, have an elite center back that, can make the odd mistake and, have those sort of moments in him, but he still has like a terrific game and everything. So I don't know. I found that to be something that Romero would probably do. If Romero took a penalty, he would do that exact same thing where he would probably get a yellow card unnecessarily right after, scoring a penalty or something. It's just who they are sometimes.
Dermo, where are you at with it, my man?
Look, Romero's Romero. I wouldn't change him for the world. And why should we? He's a great defender. He's a world-class defender, and we need a world-class defender. Ribs is right. Him and Mickey van der Ven together are a partnership made in heaven. We found Jan and Toby, I think, a replacement. But I think the back five, we found a replacement for Trippier, Rose, Jan, Toby, and we've got a great goalkeeper in Vicario as well. So, look, I can go back to the back in the day when I was young and watching football, watching Steve Perryman, Graham Roberts. You watch, there was a lot worse done back then what Romero does now. A lot worse. And Romero, you got also Romero's Argentinian. And Argentinian players are very highly strung. So you just take it as it is. And all these comments, everyone's going to, he will cost you this, he will cost us that. Romero has not cost us anything, and he never will, because at his heart, he loves the club. He loves the fans. He loves playing for Tottenham. He gives 110%. That's all we've ever asked of players. Okay, he may overstep the mark, but that's Romero, and we love him for it. I wouldn't change him. Keep him as he is. If he gets sent off, he gets sent off. Roy Keane for years played for Man United. Did Man United fans complain to him when he got sent off? No, because they knew we were a better player with him on the pitch, and he gave his all. Romero gives his all when he's on the pitch for us, 100%. He's our vice captain. Let's get behind him and show how much we love him, because without Romero, we're nothing. So our defense is nothing. So we'll just take it as he is. I love him to bits. Just leave our Romero alone.
Look, what I would say to people who complain about Romero, we could easily put Eric Dyer back in. Let's see who's complaining then. You know, that's what I would say on that, because that guy doesn't make a tackle. So we can easily go back to that extreme. No problem. Second of all, I feel like Romero gets hard done by at times. I was actually going to make this point before George threw it in here. But everyone gives out about Romero's tackling until they want him to go and clean somebody out. And then they say, Romero will be that guy. So if you're going to be that, for me, you've got to embrace it. You know, look, me, I'm one of them. I have no problem with players playing on the edge. I grew up far too long watching Spurs with a soft underbelly. No one really wanted to get stuck in, stuff like that. And you only realize what you sort of got when it's gone. And I think that will be the situation with Romero in that regard. Look, I'm not going to sit here and excuse him, right? I get some of the tackles can be a bit, I'm not going to say reckless, because I think they're tactical. I think they're to lay something on someone early. Let's see if he wants to come and run at me with the ball or make runs in and around me, which 9 times out of 10, they actually don't because of that. So look, for me, I'm one of them. I've seen a lot of players as well in my lifetime. Once they lose that edge, you lose the complete player. You lose everything about him. He's never the same player again. For me, I'd absolutely keep wanting Romero playing on the edge. The reason why it's highlighted so much is because when he does get suspended, the drop-off is so great. But in the same breath, then, you know, people don't want to bring in centre-backs in here. They think what we've got are good enough squad players. The reality is, if we had better squad players in behind him, the person coming in, it wouldn't be such a drop-off. And I think if that was the case, I actually think Romero himself would take it upon himself, if he knows the quality behind him is a lot better, to maybe not pick up as many yellow cards, because he'd be like, there's fear of me losing my place. I think that would actually help him more than us just saying cash in, get rid of him, bring someone else in here. Just bring up the right backup. Then that way we won't see much of drop-off in quality. We shouldn't drop that many points. And also, it might get him to sort of, you know, cop himself on a little. But until then, I absolutely embrace it. Unless the only other solution is you get a hard man in midfield and he does that. But we don't have it. So for me, I absolutely love Romero in that sort of regard. I never want him to change. Never. I am all about in that regard. But look, moving on. Spurs have tied Destiny Adoji down to a new deal, which will run until 2030. And Porro was also sensational versus Newcastle. Question to you guys. Do we have the best fullback in the leagues? And where did it compare to, or in the league? And where did it compare to Walker and Rose at Tottenham? We'll start with you on this, Dermo, because I know you sort of went to bring it up. You must have been reading my pre-match, because the next one I'll be talking about Romero and Van der Ven, Kenya, Emily, Toby and Jan. So where are you at with it, Dermo?
As I tell you, the Prophet knows everything. The Prophet looks ahead. He knows everything.
It's easy when you read off my sheet, Dermo, but go on.
Yeah, but David, I don't.
That doesn't make you a prophet. That just makes you a quick reader.
I didn't
the
even look
prophet
at
of
your...
Google Docs.
Yeah, if I knew what Dave was on about, but I didn't. Look, we have got the best fullback since Rose and Trippier. I really do, and I think I don't agree with the idea of tying players down to long-term contracts, because I think it will bite you in the ass sooner or later. You tie them down to a 2-year contract or something like that. Keep them wanting more. You keep them wanting, I've got to play well, because if I play well, I get another 3 years. If you tie them down to a 5 or 6 or 7 5-year contract, they sort of get comfortable. And they get relaxed. I don't need to play as hard, or I don't need to try as hard, because I've got this bumper contract and I've doubled my wages. I think I'm glad we tied them down, but I think I'd be happy if it was a 2-year contract or with an extension. Because then it's going to make him think, okay, I've got to stay on top of my game. So that's my opinion on about it. So,
well, Tottenham LSG disagrees here. He says it's utterly ridiculous thing to say. Ribsy, where are you at with it, my man? Do you think, you know, when that whole back line is fit, can they sort of emulate the Walker, Rose, Jan and Toby sort of back line that kept so many clean sheets and put us in title races?
I think that the talent is there. There's the chance that they will turn into that. I mean, the point, I mean, I don't think any of us were saying it quite to that level, that these guys are those players reincarnated and we should treat them exactly the same as players who have achieved so much at this club compared to them. That's not exactly what any of us were saying, I don't think. But there's certainly the potential for them to be that, which is players that we've had, like when you look at Dyer and Sessegnon and like Aurea and stuff, none of us were ever going to say these guys are going to be the next, top level defenders for this club, because they just weren't. You could just see it, whereas you look at Udogie and you think this guy's darn good and he's young and he's getting Italian minutes now and he's turning into something very, very special. And to the point now where a lot of us are thinking maybe this guy isn't a left back at all and he should be somewhere further up the pitch. In which case he's definitely never going to be a Danny Rose. Oh, well, Danny Rose was more of a winger than a fullback anyway, wasn't he? So, okay, fine.
He started off as a winger, yeah.
Yeah.
Jack, where are you at with it, my man? Do you agree with Rivsy and Dermo, or do you agree with Tottenham LSG where he says it's absolutely ridiculous?
I mean, I think Destiny Udogie probably is that good, and considering we were basically paying some of these guys, I don't know, like, what was it, Dave, like 5,000, 10,000 a week? I sort of jokingly said that, I mean, we basically covered that in Beavertown, sort of beer sales, for some of those sort of wages. So I think it sort of made sense that they get a pay rise of some kind. But then also, too, they definitely needed, maybe some sort of confirmation that they were going to be here for the long run, that they were going to have sort of this, how do you put it, like kind of trust that they're part of the project and everything like that. And I think when you get a long contract like that, that sort of, suggests that, yeah, we want you to be here. We think you are good enough, even, whatever may happen, or it's just, this is sort of this, sign of faith that we believe that you are the right man for Spurs. And of course you could be, hurting yourself, and maybe these guys end up tailing off or something terrible happens or whatever in terms of their form and all that. But I think they're, at the end of the day, good risks and good, kind of investments for the future. And these guys, I think probably if you were to put them up on the market right now, I think there would be a lot of big clubs that would be after them. Even there was some, I'm not sure how much I believe in it, but there was something that came out recently that paid, Real Madrid regretting not signing Pedro Porro, instead of, because they wanted to save money or something. And so they stuck with an aging Danny Carvajal and Lucas Vasquez, but now they're kind of regretting having not brought in a Pedro Porro. So some of these guys, maybe as much as they are Spurs players and they're not on the, sort of status of Real Madrid, maybe they are players that in some big clubs' eyes are good enough to play in their team and are good enough to be in their squad. So if that's the case, then you have to fight them off and you have to find a way to tie them down.
Yeah, look, I understand. I think you're absolutely spot on. It was the same with Walker, Danny Rose, Jan, and Toby. If we put them up on the transfer list, they would have been snapped up. Same with the guys we've currently got. But look, all they have to do is get us into a couple of title races, a couple of cup finals and a Champions League final, and then they've emulated them. Iceman, who steps up as captain, I mean, I'm ready, waiting. Andrew has my number. That's how I knew what he was going to do last week. So, I'm ready and waiting, my man. Big up the Iceman. I'll take the captaincy. I'm dying for it. I might even give myself a promotion after Christmas. Stay tuned after Christmas, Iceman. You'll see who'll take the captaincy, my man. Steve D, big up, lad. Great to see you. He says, oi, lads. Let's fell some trees tonight and turn the city ground into a car park. Come on, you Spurs. Exactly, lad. We have to go and manicure some trees, lad. Trim it down. Look, if they don't provide us a car park, we'll just create one. We'll just cut down the forest, lad. That's what we'll do. Big up. And then also K32 tuning in from Ireland. Great to see you in the building. And hopefully you're keeping well. Good to see you, buddy. But look, moving on swiftly. We're going to talk about Dejan Kulusevski, a.k.a. Kulu Sexy. He's created, and this is a great stat, by the way. I know King Hoddle's going to this one's going to blow his mind. He loves them. Dejan Kulusevski has created more chances from open play, which is 36, than any other player in the Premier League this season. But what I want to find out off you guys is, what is Kulu's best position for Spurs? Right wing or in that number 10 role, that creative role? And we'll start with Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo. We'll go to you on this one first, Dermo.
Look, for me, the best position for him is the number 10. I think his days of the winger are over. I think he's fantastic in that little role. He's a great backup for Maddis, and for me, we found the best of Kulu in that number 10 role. I think He's good on the wing, but I think we just found his perfect position. And all these saying we need the backup, we need a backup. Well, we found our backup within the squad with Kulu, and I think he's been fantastic. I think his performances have up since Ange put him in there, and I think he's enjoying it as well. He's enjoying the freedom. He's sort of got a free role in that number 10. He sort of can go anywhere he wants, and I think he's enjoying the freedom of giving him a bit of space to let him show his full talents. And I think the number 10 role for him is where he should be and where he should stay for me. And I don't know what he's going to do when Madders comes back, but I think his wingers days are over. I don't like him on the wing. I prefer him playing in midfield than on the wing myself. I think he's more effective in the middle of the park than he is. He goes very quiet on the wings. He goes out in and out of games, where in the middle, he's always in. He wants to be involved all the time. He wants the ball all the time. And I think that's what you want from Kulu, not on the wing, in and out sort of thing.
Yeah, look, I think many people would sort of agree with you on that, Dermot. Ribsy, Kulu, do you prefer him as a right winger, cutting in on the left, or do you prefer him marauding through the middle, eating up the turf?
Well, here's the thing. I really like Maddison as a winger. So, maybe that would be an option. But, I haven't seen it too much, but what I have seen of it, it's not so bad. But I think that the major point for me is that Kulusevski, a big part of his game is that strength that he has. He's got that, for a taller player, he's pretty hard to knock off the ball. He's got strong legs, strong upper body. He can turn. I think that lends better to being in the number 10 role than out on the wing, who is just sort of trying to get around a fullback. That said, he does that well. And he's had, as he said, he's had a lot of success in his career playing that right wing position. And, he's got that left foot that works really well in the kinds of systems that we've been playing recently. I honestly like him in both. I know that's sort of a cop-out, but I think he can very successfully play both of those positions. I think he's a much better player than just being Maddison's backup at that number 10 sort of role. And also, it's difficult with the performances that Maddison was putting in earlier in the season to say that, well, definitely we should have Decky there instead because, whatever reason you want to throw out. Because Maddison was exceptional until he got injured. I don't think he had one bad match for us. So I find it difficult to say just put him there. But in the meantime, while we're waiting for Maddison to come back, I think it's a no-brainer. That said, Lo Celso was playing really well as well. And it was kind of a surprise to see him get benched. Really well for Lo Celso, let's put it that way, from what I've seen of him previously. Maybe that was just
Dave was just too scared about signing the apology form. Dave was too scared about signing it. That's all it was.
Well, in terms of team, I mean, I can't imagine like that match against Newcastle. I'm not entirely sure would have gone quite as well if we'd had Lo Celso in that role instead of Kulusevski. So, I think that he's a versatile player who can play either of those positions functionally too good, too excellent in a lot of matches. I don't have a problem with where we play him because I think that his skill set can provide a good result in both of those positions.
Do you know what? I absolutely, completely agree. I think in terms of him being back up to Maddison, he's different to Maddison, but he's the ideal backup, right? He's sort of, I look at him and he's a bit like Moussa Dembele when he runs. He's hard to knock off the ball. He's hard to knock off balance. He's got absolutely, that burst of pace, that strength to carry with him right through the middle. And he's a lot more direct. And I think that's personally why I think Ange Postecoglou preferred him against Newcastle than Giovanni Lo Celso. And the reason why I don't think Lo Celso played well is, I'm not being funny, I could have come in and done Lo Celso's job against West Ham. Receive the ball, pass it 5 yards, receive it, pass it 5 yards. Whereas Kulusevski's direct, he runs at players. But I mean, Jack, where are you with it? I'll ask you a slightly maybe different question as well off the back of it. Is it sustainable for Kulu to play in the midfield in the long term? Because for me, I don't think you can take Papa Matasar out of the position he's in. He's too important at turning over the ball. Basuma, Ange Postecoglou's favourite, going to be very hard to take him out. Then you've got also the added problems of, great problems, by the way, of Madison and Bentancur coming back. So how sustainable is Kulu in the 10? But also, where do you prefer to see him play?
I think it's becoming a situation where it's almost like Kulu just almost needs to be in the team. He's a very trusted player by Ange. So whatever position that may be, if it's out on the right, if that's on the left, if that's in the midfield, he's just such a trusted player. I feel like, though, like always, the game is ever changing, and sort of our understanding of maybe what a conventional type of midfielder, goalkeeper, whatever is always sort of, being evolved and kind of adapted and changing. You sort of look at midfielders like Joe Linton, actually, for example, in Newcastle. The reason he was brought into the team, into that midfield, because he had a bit of steel, he offers a bit of physicality, but he's a great ball carrier and he's also a good runner. And that's actually what Kulusevski, I think, is kind of similar. And he carries the ball really well. He knows how to, kind of shoulder off players. He has that sort of directness to him that maybe other midfielders might not have, like Gio, you're probably alluding to, with the sideways passing and things like that. So Kulu offers that kind of just dynamic and that sort of just aggressiveness or aggression, really, that maybe other midfielders don't have. I'm also thinking of, like, I know he's different to like a Kovacic, but what I've always liked about Kovacic was actually his ball carrying. Like, he just can take it past 2, 3, 4 players sometimes. And that's actually vital, having guys that can do that in a midfield, because they don't need to necessarily pass it around the defense. They can pick up the ball on sort of the half turn, take 1, 2 players out that might try to dare to press them. And then all of a sudden, you have a clean break and, you're running at the team. And Kulusevski is one of those guys, and he can handle himself physically too in that midfield. We know he can score a goal if, he's in front of goal. Maybe, I know Gio's, to be fair, Gio's, hit the goals recently, but Kulusevski is going to, he's going to be a willing runner, and he's going to put himself in that box to try to get on the end of it, maybe compared to other midfielders. So I think it makes sense for Kulusevski in the number 10 if Madison is needing a rest or isn't fit or something like that. And then we probably do go back to him on the right or the left. I just think Kulusevski, in the way that he plays and his, his running too, I mean, he just sort of has to be in the team, in my opinion, wherever that may be.
Couldn't agree more with that. Yeah, couldn't agree with more with that. I think he has to be in the team regardless whether Madison's back or not. We have to fit him in. Just quickly, Matt Spurs, I think you're missing the point before you're so quick to sort of become trigger happy. I think if you're listening, I think the point that Ribsy was trying to make is that if Madison is injured, Kulu is your ideal guy, not to sit there on the bench behind him. I think you might have took that a little bit literally, or maybe you weren't listening. I'm not sure, but that's what Matty boy. But look, we'll keep it moving, guys. What I will say is we'll go for about another 15, 20 minutes, everybody. So if there is anything you want us to discuss that you're screaming at your phone, your tablet, your computer, or your TV screen, put it in there now. We'll get on to it. Why not make it a super chat? Make it stand out. Make sure we can't miss it. And it's a great way to support your boys. But look, that brings me on to the conversation of Gio. We won't take too long on this. I'll go to you on this one, Ribsy. What does that mean for Gio then, who was battling out with Madison and Kulu for that position in the team? And what do we do then come January? Do we look to cash in on him or keep him around as a backup? Because he's not good enough to start in this team. Don't care what anyone tells me.
No, he's not. He's really not. So he's one of those players where he's a backup, and if someone wants to buy him and they're going to pay what we consider to be his worth, then he's a player that is sellable and should be sold, especially now that he's actually in form. Spurs historically does not have a good history of actually cashing in on players when they're, people want them and they're in form. I think it's a perfect example of, whether we want to do some kind of trade or we're going to get some money out of Barca if they actually want him. I think that's a player that should be sold, especially now while he's looking half decent on the pitch and you can actually get some money for him. That said, you can have worse midfielders as a backup in a squad of a Premier League team. He's not a starter in Spurs, as you say, and as I think most people would agree, but I think he would be a starter for a lower level Premier League team quite comfortably. There's enough of a player in there. He gets international experience. He can hit he can hit a penalty. He can, he's not a bad player. He's good backup, or some cash for us if the opportunity arises, for sure.
No, absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. I mean, Dermo, where are you with that swap, my man? Do you agree with Ribsy? Disagree? Do you think he should be sort of moved on? Where are you at with it?
Look, Lo Celso, look, for what I'm hearing, Lo Celso could be going to Barcelona on a transfer fee, not a loan. So I think that's what Tottenham are looking to do at the moment. Barcelona are very interested in him, so let him go. If he wants to go, let him go. Look, Lo Celso for me never let him. He's never really fulfilled the potential that we all thought he had when we bought him, and we can't excuse how he's been for the last 4 years. We're all sort of shocked when he played well this season on the range, but I can't just ignore the last 4 years.
Yeah.
You can't ignore that.
Yeah.
He's not good enough to start in this team. He's good as a backup. He's good as to come on for the sub for 20 minutes. But he came on against Newcastle, and what did he do? Absolutely nothing. You can't keep looking back on these players, and he's one of the players that let us down under previous managers. So why do you think, out of all of a sudden, that Celso is going to become this world-class player on the ranch? Well, he didn't do it under Mourinho, and he didn't do it under Conte or Nuno. So, do you know, he is what he is. I think he needs to go. I think his attitude around the club hasn't been good. I think the attitude towards the managers, the players, the staff hasn't been good at all. He's been very disrespectful. And I do think that Lo Celso, if Ange wants to get this bad sort of players out of the club that bring this vibe, he needs to start with Lo Celso. He needs to start with Dyer. He needs to start with Hugo. We need to get these players out. They're the ringleaders, I think, for the clicks and the tricks within this dressing room. All the clicks, I think they're the ringleaders. We need to get rid of them all. Angie's clever enough to know that. So I think he needs to distance themselves from the first team. But we need Lo Celso at the moment. We haven't got a squad big enough to cover. So he's very carefully. I'm using you because I have to, not because I want to, because I have to. And then in January, if a good offer comes in for you, then we'll let you go. But I think he's there because he's had to use him. We haven't got the squad big enough to cover all the injuries we've had. So, but no, I think Lo Celso for me he's been a letdown. He's been a disappointment. And the sooner he leaves the club, for me, the better.
And look, the thing is, we've given him another chance, and in my opinion, he hasn't done anywhere near enough to grab it. But like, my biggest question was at the start of the season, does he want to grab it? And I'll be honest, I think I've got my answer. I don't think he does. I don't think he wants to be here. Being honest, I think he wants to be back somewhere like Spain, a warmer climate, an easier sort of game, not as robust, not as demanding. He suits a slower type of football. He does not suit the Premier League. And look, I don't take this argument that he's not an attacking midfielder. If Kulu can come in from the right and play in cam and do both jobs equally as effective, if Emerson could play right back, left back, and centre back, do all the jobs equally as effective, I don't buy that we need to play Gio in a deeper position. If he was good enough, he'd already be playing in a deeper position. Even if you want to play him in a deeper position, ask yourself, why does Papa Matt start ahead of him? Because he's better. He offers the system a lot more. Gio won't do the ball, won't do the work in terms of turning over the ball. That someone like Papa Matasar does and stuff like that. Gio just ain't suited to Tottenham. He doesn't want to be here. Let's just end the charade this January and sell him on and get someone else in here that does, in my opinion. I'm absolutely sick of the guy. I'm sick of the sight of him now. He just takes the club. Him and Ndombele, the both need to be gone. Colin, big up Colin. He says, do you guys think the current squad has enough, or do you like me think a focal point up top is still needed despite the recent performances? Look, on this one, Colin, I'll set it all summer long. If you're going to sell Harry Kane, you need to bring someone in. He offers more than just goals, hold up play, that sort of fox in the box, stuff like that. Look, I think we have missed at large parts of this season. I'd argue if we would have kept Harry Kane, we'd probably be challenging for the title right now, if not sitting top with the goals and stuff like that. But the reality is we end up selling them, which okay. But the biggest crime was not going out and replacing them. I think we have sort of paid the price. Son has done a good job down the middle. He's done a decent job. In fact, actually better than what I thought he would do. However, you lose the creativity that also comes with Sonny when you play him there. So for me, he ain't suited. Richarlison hasn't done the job. Look, I've always been of the opinion you need a striker. You need a striker in this team. It completes it. And I'm not being smart, but the change at Newcastle showed exactly what a striker brings to this team. We look so much more balanced and stuff like that. So, yeah, I've always been of that opinion. We need a striker, my man. Absolutely spot on. Jack, anything you want to say to Colin?
At the moment, we are sort of depending on Richarlison to, I guess, have a good spell or good form for a bit of period. But if you were to just look at evidence, or if you were even an outside, fan, not a Spurs fan, I mean, you'd be probably laughing, hearing, Spurs fans try to put their faith in Richarlison, to come good for, these next few months. And that sort of shows, right, with how Richarlison played in the recent game as acting like a focal point, a focal striker, kind of in the box, hold up play, physicality, all those sort of things. That also gave Sonny a bit more freedom and kind of brought some of the best out of him again. He kind of shows that we need somebody who can do that on a consistent basis, but, perform like that on a consistent basis. And Richarlison has not been that guy. He has games like that, but then he hasn't done it really consistently. Even there was that stat that said he hasn't ever scored in consecutive games, I think, for Spurs, and that would be an excellent opportunity to do that. But if Richarlison is not fit and firing and still, kind of playing in the way that we need him to up top, of course, I think Spurs would need a striker this January. I think they already kind of do, but, let's say Richarlison ends up doing what you've been kind of needing since Harry Kane has been gone. Maybe it becomes, slightly of a different conversation of, adding somebody that can challenge Richie, but maybe doesn't outright replace Richie or whatever. But I don't know. I think what we need is some sort of focal point that can play like how Richarlison did the other night against Newcastle, but can do that on a consistent basis. Whether that's actually Richie or not, I'm not sure. I want it to be Richie because I love Richie, but I'm not sure with that. If I were, a betting man, I wouldn't put my faith in Richie to be that person. So Spurs obviously then will need something in January. Colm, big up to you, sir.
Look, can I just add a question to that as well? Look, I'm not defending the club here. I'm not defending anyone. I think we should have got a striker in, Dave. I agree with the points you made him, but I think by the time the Kane transfer went through, it left Tottenham very late to sort something out. Now, maybe they've been between now and then, they've been trying to get their options and get somebody in January. It all depends on how Ange said what he wanted to do as well. I do agree with you. I think a striker should have been brought in as soon as Harry Kane's going out. But the Harry Kane transfer just rolled on and it rolled on and it rolled on. He wasn't going, he was going. There was no clear message of what was happening. And I think it may have caught Tottenham on the hop when it did suddenly just went through. Maybe Ange thought, well, look, instead of paying money out for a striker we know is not going to work, let's go with what we got to January, and then we can scout and get the proper striker for me and bring him in January. So I think that is what's happening. But I don't know if you agree, Dave, Jack, or Rebsy. That's just my opinion. And I wonder what you got. I wanted to put that out there. I just wonder what you thought on that.
Rebsy?
I just don't know, man. Sorry, what with oh man, it's I'm just reading the chat at the same time and just thinking about trying to replace these players in the January window. And it's just, I agree with people in chat about that. It just, if you're getting rid of these players that are just that are so important to us as backups, we just even if they're not perfect, we're just putting ourselves in a dangerous situation. So obviously we're not going to do that.
Jack, anything else you want to say on what Dermot's question was?
No, I think I've given my piece on sort of the Richie sort of situation and sort of, the kind of faith that we need to put in him. I think Spurs inevitably were, thinking that Richarlison would step up this season. I think the timing of selling Harry Kane wasn't great, and it put Ange in sort of a tough position. And I think apparently Richarlison has been carrying some type of injuries this season, so that might have been the reason why he wasn't playing nearly as well up top as much as Ange needed him to. But I don't know. I think we're in sort of a moment right now where we either just need Richie to be the striker that was supposed to be here to fill in for Harry Kane and sort of, take on those boots. Richarlison hasn't been that guy. In the last game, he sort of was that guy, but can he do it on a consistent basis? Once again, like I say, not really sure. I'd love for him to. I'd be as delighted as almost anybody else, but yeah, I don't know. I just think Spurs are probably going to have to go after somebody. I'm confused who that might be, though. I really am. I am curious.
Look, for me, I think it's inevitable they have to go after somebody. At the end of the day, even if Richie does start scoring goals, you have to have 2 strikers in the Premier League. It's that simple, you know. And we also can't be naive to the fact that Son's 31, going to be 32 very, very soon. Before you know it, all of a sudden, you know, football comes around very quick. He's going to be past it. So you have to be still looking at finding that right guy to come in here, regardless of what Richarlison does, in my opinion. But big up, Colin. Great question, my man, and really appreciate the support, brother. Good talking point, my man. Absolute legend. But look, moving on, guys. Brennan Johnson returns to his former club tonight. I want to know if we'll go to you on this one, Dermo. What do you make of the start Johnson has made at Spurs?
Look, I think he's made a good start to Tottenham. Every game, look, it's very different coming from Nottingham Forest to a bigger club like Tottenham. It's a step up, and I think he's gradually got going at Tottenham. And I think he's loving the role he's playing under Ange. He loves the Ange system. He loves Ange probably as a manager as well. And I think Johnson will become a top player for us. I really do. He's played that goal that he would have scored against Newcastle on Sunday. That would have been a cracker. I mean, that would have been an absolute blinder of a goal. And he has put in some good performances. It's all about, for him, consistency and getting fitter, getting used to the system and enjoying his football and getting used to his surroundings. It's never easy for a player to join a club and hit the ground running. It's very rare you get a player coming in and they're right on it straight away. It's always going to take him a couple of months to get used to his surroundings, if he's had to move house, if he's had to move family or whatever. So look, I'm really impressed with Johnson. I think he was a good buy. I thought he was a good investment, and I love him. I think he's a great player. I'm really doing one of his fans. He's becoming one of my favourite players at Tottenham at the moment, Johnson. I love the way he plays. I love the way he goes down that wing and he cuts in, and he's like a little ferret. Dave know what I mean by a little ferret. He's here, there, and bloody everywhere, Johnson. And that goal on Sunday, if that goal went in, that would have been goal of the season. The way Tottenham went from back to front, that would have been goal of the season for me. So big up, and look, I wish him all the best. You what, Ribsy?
I did as well. Both celebrated
Jack's goal celebration for the
I thought it was over the line. And I was, for a good half hour, I was thinking, that ball was over the line. That ball was over the line. And then I looked and went, oh, it wasn't over the line. Okay.
It looked like a goal, though. It looked like a goal.
But I've been really impressed with him. And a lot of people don't like him, but I think he's a great player for the future for us. He's this young player, Dave, that is coming. He's hungry. That's what I like about him. He's hungry. He wants to do well. He wants to please Ange. He wants to please the fans. He wants to please Tottenham Hotspur. He pulls on that jersey and he wants to give 100%. That's what I like about him. So good luck to him. And look, as I said, I'm Tottenham over in February. I'm definitely getting his name on the back of my shirt.
Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers, it's an early call.
Fair
That's
play,
an early call.
Fair play, Dermo.
Yeah, fair play. I mean, Ribsy, where are you at with Brennan Johnson? I've sort of, my opinion on it is, I think I might have said this to you yesterday, Jack, that, you know, the guy can either go on and become sort of Gareth Bale level and what he's sort of done, or he could go on and become Bergwijn. I mean, where are you at with it? What way do you think his career is going to go?
That's so difficult to say. I mean, you can see the potential. You can, you know, it's written all over him. I don't think it was a bad buy. He's probably getting more minutes than we or he were expecting, with the players that were probably ahead of him in the squad. But you know, he's getting a lot of football. He did look very nervous in the Newcastle game until we went 2-up, and then he looked fantastic after that.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's still a kid. There's nerves there. I don't think you can rely on him at this point for like big games, big moments, unless, you know, the moment's already passed. So but that said, the only way to cure a player of that, I think, is to give them minutes and let them sort of become accustomed to, the responsibility resting on his shoulders a little bit. So this is the best thing that could have happened for him, is to get all these minutes to play Premier League football for Tottenham Hotspur. And, those, as Dermot was saying, like, that would have been one hell of a goal if it had gone in. And who knows, the next one might. And it would be, just everyone's luck that it happens against his old club. And maybe he'll do a couple of, what do you guys call them, keepy uppies or juggles or something, just to balance out that Richarlison moment from last season. But maybe Richarlison will come off the bench and kick him down or something. But
you never know. You never know. Jack, where are you at with Brennan Johnson? Because I think, look, in terms of shooting and sort of pace and everything else, it's all there. I do feel like that crossing ability is lacking, though, severely.
No, it definitely has. There have been some moments that you have pointed out where he had like 3 or 4 guys in the box that he could have hit, and he would kind of miss all of them, really. And when you see something like that happen, I think it's kind of one of two things. I think it's either he struggles to pick his head up, while sort of, going down that wing, or he sort of struggles in actually picking them out, with any sort of real consistency, even if he does sort of see the runs and the players there. On Brennan Johnson, though, like, I could see why some are frustrated. Big price tag, sort of, in a way, was sort of brought in to help with the goals and everything. 1 goal, I think 2 assists so far this season, and 800 minutes played. So, like, the ratio is not terrible. Like, I mean, I think Richarlison had a slower start, and I think maybe Bergwijn probably had a slower start, if I think of it too. And there are other failed wingers like Jack Clark, and we love Brian Hill, but even Brian Hill didn't have a start like that. So mostly Tottenham wingers, except for Kulusevski, have had pretty underwhelming or pretty slow starts to their times, actually, kind of at Spurs. And Brennan Johnson sort of falls maybe, I don't know, not that far down, actually. I think he's sort of, higher up there in terms of his starts. I kind of hope that he had a bit better output, especially in assists and maybe goals, but it's not really the worst I've seen from a Tottenham winger. And I think he does have that potential to, have, more consistency in him. And I think he's had good moments. Like, we've seen crucial crosses from him that ended up winning us games. We've seen some nice flick-ons and some nice bits of skill from him at times. He has caused his defender, lots of trouble in certain games with his pace and just how direct he is. I just think he could definitely be playing better. But is he playing, like, concerningly terrible? No, I don't think so. I think even, you look at, I mean, I love Richie, but again, I think that would be a better example of a guy who came in for a big price tag. Richie wasn't really hitting the ground running in the way that we needed him to. I would say that Johnson's actually started off better than Richarlison did, at Spurs. And maybe that's a low bar. But that's typical Spurs fan, typical happy clapper setting a low bar, I think, just for these players to
Can I ask one question to Jack on Richie and you, Dave, as well, on Ribsy?
One second, Dom. Second. I just want to take K's super chat where he says, "Big up, lads. Time for Brennan to show his quality." Just on that, look, my man, you're absolutely spot on, brother. I mean, look, if I'm in his shoes, I wanna rock up there tonight. I want to put in the best performance I can and show, why I've made that step up. That's what I would be doing if I was Brennan Johnson out there tonight. Look, you can clearly see there's potential in the guy. Now it's just about whether he fulfills that potential or whether he doesn't. But tonight could be a big step in him going on to do that, a big step in confidence for him if he can rock up to the City ground and put in a very good performance. And look, we need him to at the end of the day, Kay. We need him to. We want that whole front three, everybody firing. Lethal in terms of being able to assist goals and score goals. So absolutely spot on there, Kay. Big yourself up. My game for him tonight, by the way. Big game.
And Big Tyler also has a bet on him, Dave, as well. He has a Tyler, Big T has a bet on Johnson to score today. So there you go. Moondog, if he gets it.
Go first.
I think it's any time in Tyler. I think he goes for the anytime. But if that happens, Moondog, you know who to be jealous of.
Look, hopefully it happens. I do like to see everybody, win their bets. That'd be nice. Best of luck with that, Tyler. Also, big up, Mark, my man, becoming a new YouTube member. Big yourself up, brother. Really do appreciate it. And welcome to the community that we've built here as well, my man. Make sure you get involved in the community section with all the sort of members-only content. And also, try and get involved in the fantasy league and stuff like that. So big up, Mark, and welcome to the community. Jack, just take over there for a second. Just got a knock at the door. I'll be 1 second.
No,
Just move
no
on
worries at all. Move on to who? Okay. I think he might have said Richarlison because Richie. Sorry. Yeah, Richie. I hoped he said Richie because I love talking about Richie. Richarlison scored 2 goals last time out versus Newcastle. Do you think he will back it up today with more goals and another solid display? I'm going to go to Dermatron first because Dermatron, it sounded like last time we had you on this show, you didn't even want Richie to score, but yet he did. He scored 2 of them. Thoughts on Richarlison, needing to score again here?
Look. My whole thing on Richarlison is he's never been the one that's really backed it up. Look, my criticism as Richie is he didn't hit the ground running when he joined us, and he's never really impressed me. He's only impressed me in little bits. So my sort of thing on Richie is he's never proved to me that he was the player to take over the Kane mantle or be our big striker. But what impressed me on Sunday against Newcastle was his overall play on Sunday was fantastic. And maybe the injury had something to do with that. And maybe I was a bit harsh on him. Maybe I should have... We didn't know he had an injury, so maybe I was being a bit harsh on him. If he backs it up tonight and scores 2 goals tonight, or scores tonight and puts another good performance, then he's winning me over. It's all about him now proving to me he is the player that we paid the money for. This is the Richarlison we got off Everton. When he was at Everton, he was their linchman. He was their cheerleader. He was their man on the pitch. Everything was built around Richie. And I just feel if he can back it up tonight, then he'd be winning me over. But I also got this sort of sneaking sort of thought. If Andrew's in charge when we bought Richie, would we have seen a different Richie? And I think the answer to that is probably yes. Because Richie would have bought into the Ange way of managing, the way that he plays, the way he likes to be given freedom. And I think with a fit Richie and Ange, I think we're going to see the best of him now. But I think he is slowly winning me over. And look, I had my doubts about him. I had my criticisms about him. And maybe I was wrong. And I will hold up my hands up and say, look, I was wrong. I apologize. He's winning me over, but not yet. He needs to
Don't apologize yet, Darmo. He's still got a long way to go, He's not out of the woods. I don't think anyone was expecting.
But I think his performance on Sunday, Dave, proved he was a better player than we all thought he was.
Oh, you don't need to tell me that. I predicted him to start.
Yeah, and look, and that was my position. That was my prediction with him last week, that he hasn't given me anything to get behind. Now I can get behind something. And there are his first 2 goals for Spurs with his feet, by the way. His other goals were with his head. Yep. And he took them very well. And that shows a fit, injury-free Richarlison. Had that something to do with it? He's got the Ange as well in there as well, bigging him up. Ange is playing an attacking game of football the way they used to play at Brazil and the way they used to play sort of more of attacking way at Everton in his time too. Are we now playing to his strengths? And I think it's yes. And if he can score tonight, he is winning me over. So yeah, look, a long way to go, but he's winning me over. And I haven't got the same criticism this time round than I did last Sunday. And I was proved wrong last Sunday. And I was very happy he proved me wrong last Sunday. So big up, Richie. Just do it tonight. If not, I'll be back on your case again Monday morning.
Ribsy, did you answer it?
Not yet, Ribsy, but look, hey, if he scores another brace tonight, then I think the whole team just needs to go down for pubic bone surgery. Like we just put them all, we'll just line them up. Just apparently they only go out for just get the whole team done. Because if it turns you from, someone who can't do anything basically in terms of get the results that we're expecting into a player that scores 2 goals every game, then, well, obviously it's the answer. So, but in all seriousness, I mean, the guy clearly was having major trouble. I think that there's a cultural and sort of historical issue with players being against getting surgery when they need to get it done. And they struggle on and they hide their injuries because they're worried about a surgery ruining their career or something. when Richie is the perfect example. I mean, he was basically back, he only missed one match after surgery and he was back on the bench the match after, or maybe it was two. But anyway, it was a very short amount of time for someone who went into surgery and then came out of surgery. And now he's, starting. So I think that the medical staff at Spurs need to make it really clear to players that if they're communicating their problems and it gets fixed, then this is the result when it gets done right. But who knows?
Yeah.
It could have just been he just needed a week off to go back to Brazil and drink fruit juice. I don't know what they do in Brazil. So
I mean, yeah, I would definitely recommend. It could almost be like an infomercial for footballers of pubic bone surgery. It's like struggling, with form, struggling in front of goal. Like think about pubic bone surgery.
Exactly.
And they could get a doctor involved and everything like that. So I think that's just what any footballer needs. If they are struggling in form, just think about what Richarlison has done for himself and the pubic bone surgery department, and maybe it could work out for you just the same.
Jack, just quickly, anything you want to say on Richie? I know you've been a long time sort of backer of the guy.
No, looking forward to him hopefully scoring 2 games in a row since Everton. That's a great stat that I saw on Twitter and that you excellently have put in there in the script there, Davo. And I hope that he does do that. I mean, I don't know what side you would be on in this case. I think either person could be correct. Like you could bet that he doesn't do it. You could bet that he does do it because he did look a lot better against Newcastle. This could be a low block team, Everton as well. So maybe we might be just swinging balls into the box. He might get onto something as well. This game could be a game that perhaps suits him in a way. I really hope for it. I'll be pigeon dancing definitely a lot harder than I even did the last time, because last time it almost felt like more of a surprise, really. Like I was just genuinely shocked. Like, are we actually witnessing a Richie brace here? Where like this time, I'm really hoping for it. And anytime that I start hoping for something, it's probably not going to happen. So let's hope that Richie ends up proving me wrong here.
Look, last thing I'll say on it is Richie did have his best game of the season last year against Nottingham Forest, albeit off the right-hand side. He did have his best game last year, and Jack was sitting in the stands watching that as well.
He's had good games against Forest. That's right, actually. He scored that he had that outside the foot assist to Kane at the end of the game to make it go 2-0 when he got subbed on. And then, like you mentioned, the other Forest game at home, he had one of his best games ever in a Spurs shirt. So that's actually a fair point, actually. He's played well against Forest.
Was it the Forest game when he did the keep me uppies on the line? Was that the same game when we won 2-0? When he did the keep? I thought that was brilliant. I love his shithousery. That's what I love about Richie. He brings you that shithousery, and I love that.
When it comes to Richie, the reason why I sort of give him a little bit more grace than others is because it's not for a want of not wanting to be here. He clearly wants to be here. He's clearly being frustrated with the performances he's put on. And when a player is showing that frustration, I can always give him a bit of grace because it shows that he does actually care and he does want to perform at the highest level. But look, one swallow doesn't make a summer. At the end of the day, the guy has to back it up now over the period of December. And I'd argue why Sonny's away at the Asian Games. He has to back it up then. But every Spurs fan should be willing him on and wanting it to work because we will need him for that period when Son is missing for the Asian Games. We need that goal scorer. So, no other winger has really stepped up to be able to provide it, or no one else in the forward area. So why not? Why can't it be Richie? He has, believe it or not, he still has time to save his Spurs career. He still has time to, sort of get the sort of narrative around him absolutely vanished. Just a couple of goals you're all of a sudden talking, is he having a better season than Johnson and other people like that? So look, let's see what he can do tonight, but he better deliver. It better not just be off. This is the biggest problem at Tottenham. We've been here before. Richie's going to do it now, and he never does. So he better do it. Just before we end off, I was actually going to talk about Son. 2 questions on them, but genuinely don't have time to get into them today, so we might talk about them a bit more over the coming days. One of them was Son is only the 7th different player to score 10 plus Premier League goals in 8 consecutive seasons. Does that make him a legend? I would say to everybody, put him down on a scorer bet today. 7 of his 10 goals have come away from home. We are away from home tonight, so I've no doubt he'll probably step up again. And also, Son has now been involved in 14 goals in his last 13 Premier League games, scoring 10 and assisting 4. and what is Son's best position. But maybe me and Jack will get into that once we kick the watch along off. But look, we'll go to you, Dermo. We'll give you a chance to plug your channel. And what's your score prediction, my man?
Yeah, and I apologise again for being late and missing your question at the beginning.
I don't worry about that. We're all
No,
late.
I do apologise. No, I usually come in here and I want to give my best. When I don't give my best, I'm really annoyed.
Happens to the best of the prophets.
I know it does. I know it does. And to James Hunter's question, I don't know if me and Ribsy are related. We could be. I have just been looking, and we do actually quite look alike.
Let's just go with yes. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm related to Dermshire.
He's my long-lost brother from another mother somewhere along the line.
Cousin Prophet.
Prophet, yeah.
Silver foxes.
Yeah, silver foxes. See, all these silver foxes are prophets. You see, this is my apprentice, Rebsy. He's my apprentice. He's the prophet. See, all for that. Yeah.
Follicle-based predictions.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But anyway, we'll carry on very quickly. If you do like what I have to say and you do want to get over, please get over to THFC till I die. Your home at Tottenham, past, present, and future under Ange Postecoglou. As we go back to our glory days, you can join me and Mr. Brady over there as we do post-match, pre-match, watch-alongs, the roundtable discussion, which was good. I had put out 2 videos today, my predicted lineup and my pre-game thoughts as well. So please give them a like. And also, please give these guys a like here. This is the mothership to my channel, where I made my debut over 3 or 4 years ago now with these guys. And Dave and Jack are one of my best friends on YouTube. Proper brothers, always have been. Spent time with them as well. And they are, as you see them on stream, perfect gentlemen, the pair of them, and a privilege to be in their company and know them. But yeah, if you like me, come over to HFC tonight. Get us to 2K before my birthday on the 5th of Feb, please. It'd be a lovely present. But yeah,
appreciate
do
that,
it here first here.
By the way, where is Philip today? He's supposed to be here. He's probably working or something like that.
Yeah, he did say that. He said he never got the link. That's what he said to me.
Should I send it to you? You're supposed to give it to him. It's your partner,
all right? Okay, all right. Well, he was busy working. He was busy working anyway. So he was busy working anyway. He's busy doing Daniel Levy's tax returns before January. That's what he told me he was doing.
Right. Well, we'll get him for the next one. Ribsy, what's your score prediction, my man?
Oh, 3-0. My score prediction, sorry.
3-0. Ribsy?
Yeah. I think it'll be 3-1 Spurs. For some reason, I just don't think we're going to get the clean sheets. But I think we're going to come out firing. I think that we'll probably go 3 up before we concede. And I just that concession will be after we put some subs on.
Be acceptable then, I suppose, once you've made a few changes. Jack, what's your score prediction, my man?
I'm feeling 2-0 or potentially more. It'd be nice if we could score more, but I somehow do think that Spurs could grab a clean sheet today. I think we were pretty defensively strong against Newcastle. If we don't end up conceding from a set piece or anything like that, I struggle to see Forest really scoring, because I think, they're just going to have to get lucky on one of these counterattacks, or they're going to have to bring a lot more energy to the game than I expect them to, really. I think they are going to sit back for a lot of it. So I say 2-0 to the Spurs. Hopefully more than that, though. Maybe 3-0, 4-0. That'd be fun. There's my happy clapper scoreline. Leighton Evelyn, if you're still listening.
There you have it. The old lad's gone, 4-0? I think Spurs are 4-1. Spurs has gone with Son, hat-trick, and Johnson. Look, very well may happen tonight. Look, I'm going to go 3-1. I'm with Ribsy. I think, look, that we definitely have goals in us. I think it'll be a long, frustrating evening, so I don't see us scoring much more than 3, to be honest with you. I think we'll have to work incredibly hard for them. I do see us conceding somewhere along the line with one of them balls that Forest will keep continually thrown in the box. However, the most important thing is we'll be snatching all 3 points and putting them under the Christmas tree, which I absolutely can't wait. But look, guys, that's it from myself and Jack. We will be back here at 7:30 for the watch along. Been immaculate vibes over the watch alongs last couple of weeks with some of the good results. So please come and join us in that and the festivities, and hopefully we get the win. But look, I'll see you all there back at 7:30. Massive thank you to Ribsy, to the Tron, and to the Jacko as well, and to all you guys for tuning in. Really do appreciate all you guys getting your comments in, everyone who helps support the channel with memberships and super chats and stuff like that. It really can't survive without it. So really do appreciate it all. Think of it as our channel, all of us together. that's the way we should be thinking of it. But guys, we'll see you soon. As always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on,
In
you
the mighty
Spurs.
Ange Postecoglou, we trust. We never stop. Let's
We
fucking
never
go.
stop. Come on.
Come on, you
See
Spurs.
everybody in the big Ange.